You're listening to Hair of the Dogcast, a proud part of the Greenlit Podcast Network. Check out Hair of the Dogcast and all of Greenlit shows at greenlitpodcast.com. Now, let's do the show. Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of Hair of the Dogcast. We are on episode 75, 3/4 of the way to 100, and this one is going to be extra scandalous.
Oh, it's very scandalous.
Controversial to the max.
Don't tell Daddy.
Motherfucker. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Tom.
I'm another one of the hosts. My name is Brad.
And I'm the other one. And I'm Dylan.
Oh, hey.
And I'm the other one.
And I'm not Josh, because I'm not here today.
I have a business. I can't ever come.
That sucks. Why does my partner not wear a mask when I'm using dangerous chemicals?
I work way too hard.
Let's
Just
stop
kidding.
using these voices.
Yeah, we all wish Josh a very happy not Dogcast day because he is currently not here right now and recovering.
God
from
bless, Godspeed.
working an entire week all on his own. So that's all right. He's going to miss out, but that's fine. That's fine with all of us.
I wonder if he listens to the podcast
might
when
be
he's
a
not
tough
on.
He doesn't
Scandal.
listen to shit. It's cool.
I-
Yeah.
I listened to the podcast I wasn't on for a while. And then Carly's like, can we listen to some fucking murder?
Oh, my God.
Carly's not wrong. It's really fun to listen to murder.
Although it is fun listening
You think-
to us from the outside perspective, like if I'm not on the episode.
Yeah.
I don't listen to our podcast until it's like maybe a year out. Then it's fun to go back and like, oh, we talked
Yeah.
about Assassin's Creed. Let me
Yeah.
like give it a listen.
Right. After about 8 hours of editing an episode, I'd never want to listen to these things ever again. Although I do remember a lot of what people say. Too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because you're
I
constantly
mean,
going
that's
through.
good. It's nice to remember
But-
conversations with your friends.
I guess. But speaking of murder. Anyways, Hair of the
Friends is a strong word.
Oh, boy.
So, Hair of the Dogcast is a podcast about video games and beer, if you don't know, but of course you do. And on this podcast, we talk about video games, but we drink real, actual beer on the podcast, usually. Guys, I see you are drinking beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had way too many White Russians last night. I feel very hungover today, and the thought of anything that tastes like straightforward alcohol sounded bad, so I am drinking a Chunk Sundae Sour, which is essentially a fruit smoothie beer from Drecker.
Excellent.
Yep, blueberries, blackcurrant, and marshmallow in this one, and it is very nice.
I believe we've had that on the podcast before.
We've had some variation of the Chunk,
The
not
Chunk.
this one, yeah.
Not that specific chunk.
Not sure. There's a lot of chunks on this one, am I right?
I mean, that's what the guy in Ring Fit tells me.
you just boot it up and he goes, what a chunk.
Go
I had
New
to
Year's
change it to the
goals.
female voice because it's less threatening.
Aw. Dylan, what do you got, buddy?
I've got a Surly Brewing Company Sabro Tooth Tiger IPA. It's really good. It's got a lot of hints of like fruit. It's like almost like a passion fruit.
Surly knows their IPAs.
They're good, yeah. It's very good.
They're good at those. And I have a Diet Mountain Dew Code Red.
What hops do they use in that one, Tom?
Got fucking annihilated yesterday. I'm hungover. I got a couple gigs in a row coming up tomorrow on Wednesday, so I am going to be teetotaling it and just watching you guys have all the fun tonight. So
Well, I'm not hitting it hard either. So.
I'm not going to.
that's what you say now.
We'll see.
That's what you say now. Okay. Hair of the Dogcast is also executive produced by executive producers Brian Ward, Tyler Keller, Mark Nino. We
Welcome, Mark Nino.
Yeah. I mean, he's a vet now. We welcomed him last week.
Glad to have him aboard.
He liked it. He even shouted out at us for shouting out at him on the last podcast.
That's awesome.
We're going to be in an endless cycle of shout outs now.
It's going to be constant.
We might have to have a credit sequence.
Ooh, maybe. You want to do it?
We'll have to do a freeze frame at the end.
I mean, if we get enough of them, we can announce them at the start, right?
Like, kind of like The Price is Right. Like, this has been brought to you by
Yeah, and then
Mark
you just-
Mobile.
Have
then
your
you
pet
read it
spayed
down.
and neutered.
That's okay. Yeah, sure.
By our wonderful
Exactly.
patrons.
Yes.
Yes.
And if you too want to be as cool as Mark Nino, Tyler Keller, and Brian Ward, go to patreon.com/Hair of the Dogcast and check out all the tiers. We got tiers for every budget. Tears for Fears, Tears for beers.
I was thinking about Bono because you said if you too would like to support the podcast, Bono, if you're listening, we could really use your
world
help.
hunger.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how I
I
feel
can't
about
do
it,
an
but I'll take
Irish
your money.
accent.
We'll take his money.
That's right.
All I know is that every single iPhone has one song, and it's a U2 song, and it happens to boot up half the time you plug in a headphone.
In the name
Does it
of
still do that?
pod.
It does with Carly's car when we're driving around.
Really? So you just have to hear Vertigo? Isn't that the one?
Probably.
Hola. Hello, hello.
I actually don't know what song it was. No, that's a little too early for that. That's like 2006. Never mind.
Are you okay?
Never.
Okay.
Let's keep working.
All right.
We brought up the B word.
Yeah, apparently. I didn't. We had Bonophiles in the podcast. So
I just remember the song. It was everywhere.
yeah. So this episode, we are going to be talking about some of the more notorious and infamous scandals in gaming, in the game industry, and gaming adjacent. So that's going to be a fun discussion. I can't wait to get into that. But first, as tradition dictates, we must
Perform single combat.
do other stuff before we get to that.
Ah,
Yeah. So things like the news.
Perfect. I'm
Guys, you want to do some of this?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I think I know the top story. July 14th, the Stadia Connect, where they featured some new games.
Way to bury the lead, man. Jeez.
Sorry.
Just take it. Why don't you just do the whole fucking podcast, Brad?
I watched the whole Stadia Connect today. It was brutal.
Was there one today?
There was a Stadia Connect on the 14th of July.
Okay.
And they're like, coming to Stadia, we have Elder Scrolls Online and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice and
that's
Bomberman.
Which Bomberman?
Bomberman Online R. They're like, the bombs can have different explosions like glitter or tasty
So
looking
it's
stuff.
a port of the Switch game?
They only pretty much showed ports
Probably.
of everything. There was
Okay.
no, like, we got this big game coming.
Yeah.
But they did shift their strategy, and they were trying to, push click to play, where if you're watching your favorite streamer, just click the link in the video, and you'll be playing with them. They're pushing the click to play as their selling point now.
Is that working now? Because I know they had promised that. I don't think that came out at launch.
I don't think it's.
But
I don't.
that was
think
like
it's working.
like the one feature I was like, that's kind of cool, you know?
Yeah.
But I didn't know if they had that going. Yeah, if you're going to play that Sekiro, make sure you have a fucking fast connection.
Oh
That's all
my
I
god,
gotta
that
say.
game would be brutal without having perfect connection.
Right? Yeah, those
yeah.
those timing frames are pretty unforgiving for blocking.
Yes.
So,
I'm so close to beating it, and every time I try that last boss, good God,
yeah.
it's a big problem for me. And it has
Gary from
caused
Watch
me a
Out for
lot of-
Fireball said he attempted it like 70 times.
that last fight has like 3 stages to it. It's if you thought the Guardian Ape was hard,
Were they talking about that on Bonfire Side Chat?
He talked about that when we interviewed them at Portland. Yep.
it's a nutty.
He does remember
Sekiro.
everything he talks to his friends about. Yeah.
Look at that.
Sometimes fucking photographic memory.
Wow.
Get it out of here. Get it out of here. All right, let's get to the news. Continuing with last episode's discussion of sexual abuse and harassment allegations across the industry, we have one more story, hopefully. Just one more story. Ubisoft announced that 3 top executives have either been removed from the company or have stepped down from their positions, quote, following the initiation of a rigorous review, and that the company initiated in response to recent allegations and accusations of misconduct and inappropriate behavior. Did you
Towards
guys-
them specifically,
yes. Have you guys...
or just that they were performing poorly as leaders, because that also could be a reason.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
So the 3 executives in question are, and these are some pretty top-ranking people, especially this first one.
Ezio?
Ezio. Oh my God, Mamma Mia! I shouldn't have been touching.
All jokes aside, should not be joking right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this may or may not remain in the podcast.
I think it's funny.
First of all, Chief Creative Officer Sergey Haskot. I did not look up the pronunciation.
Clearly.
French. Haskot.
I think people can forgive you.
Haskot. Okay, we'll just say Haskot.
There you go.
Sergei Haskot. A report in the French newspaper Liberation identified Haskot as playing a central role in the company's culture problems, with the source saying the executive has, quote, the most toxic behavior in the whole business. Haskot is essentially the second in command at Ubisoft under CEO Yves Guillemot, and the guy who's basically in charge of all of Ubisoft's games.
Yikes-a-roni.
Yeah, so CEO Yves Guillemot I'm sorry, all you French people out there, for the butchering.
I'm trying to find the names here. I took French. I might be able to pronounce them better.
Okay, yeah. If you can find
YVES.
Yeah, Yves Guillemot. I'm pretty sure I know that one.
Guillemot.
Good.
Guillemot.
Yannis Malat.
Yep, he's the next. So CEO Yves Guillemot will be stepping in for Hascote on an interim basis. He mentioned that he will be conducting a complete overhaul of the way in which the creative teams collaborate as well. The second one to leave is director of Canadian studios, the guy that you just mentioned, Brad, Yannis Malat.
Yeah.
So over 100 employees of Ubisoft's Canadian studios, I guess, signed a letter directed at company leadership and said that they had, quote, grave concerns about ongoing reported harassment and an inability to feel safe or protected within our own studio.
Yikes.
Wow.
So as a result, he was the only one in the announcement that flat out said he was out. You know, he's gone.
And the other ones are less known, so that wouldn't matter anyway.
So
it's not like they have to dox them.
The announcement came out around like July 12th, or I think it was the 12th. It was the day before. We'll talk about the next story, the Ubisoft Forward event. So at that time, it was unclear if Sergei Hascote was leaving, but he is apparently. That came out later. Back to Giannis, the Ubisoft announcement said that, you know, the recent allegations that have come to light in Canada against multiple employees make it impossible for him to continue in his position. So,
yeah, if you lose the faith of the people under you, it's done anyway.
But he's the director of all Canadian studios, and everyone knows. I mean, that's where the bulk of all the AC development.
I don't think it'll affect as much as you actually think. I think a lot of these designers and creative directors are they're like the hooves on the pedals, and they're actually doing most of this stuff.
Yeah.
I think leadership is important, but I don't think it's the end all be all. Like when something they say is produced by Shigeru Miyamoto, basically Shigeru walks into a room and is like, "Are you doing things right? Okay, I'm going to head out of here."
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, Ubisoft is a massive company. I think they said they have like 18,000 employees. So,
some would argue that's too much.
Yeah. Have you ever read the credits of an Assassin's Creed game? They go on for like 45 minutes.
I'm on page 37 right now.
No, I walk away to use the bathroom.
Yes.
For an hour.
Yes. Yeah.
And finally, global head of human resources, Cecile Cornet, is reportedly stepping down. Unclear if she's leaving. Ubisoft said that she decided to step down from her position, quote, as she believes it is in the best interest of the company's unity. Side note,
Company's Unity, is that a play on Assassin's Creed that she made there?
Maybe. Really.
It's also one of the worst ones.
Yeah, their HR department's really buggy.
Yeah.
There's
You can see
eyeballs,
through their
faces with eyeballs. But yeah, just as a side note, it has been alleged, you know, that HR at Ubisoft would actively try to downplay or dismiss allegations of misconduct and abuse in the past.
I mean, if you're failing that hard, you shouldn't get paid to do the job.
Yes. So while Ubisoft conducts a search for her successor, it is also, quote, restructuring and strengthening its HR function in order to adapt it to the new challenges of the video game industry.
You could call me. I'm up for it.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay.
Make me a Canadian citizen.
Get on LinkedIn, baby.
Perfect.
Yeah, just
I'm the
I don't think Canada's going to allow anyone to go up there for a while, guys.
I'm good for you, eh?
Those Americans, hey, we should make a wall and keep them out, huh?
I'll just be like, come on. And they'll be like, fine. Oh, fine.
Yeah. Now, all this news actually came a week after Ubisoft's vice president of editorial, Maxime Belland.
I just love listening you try to pronounce the names.
He resigned over accusations of assault and misconduct, and Tommy Francois, the studio.
Tommy Francois, that's a cool name.
That's slick.
I'm Tommy Francois.
And I'm a gangster.
Yeah.
Oh, you know I fuck. I'm Tommy Francois.
You know my name. You know I fuck.
Yes. He was the vice president of editorial and creative services. Both these guys were placed on disciplinary leave in late June. So prior to these three big execs leaving, these other two and an unnamed worker was also terminated. They have since been terminated as well, these other guys. So it's been a kind of a bit of a house cleaning. over there.
It's
And
necessary.
back to Yves, our boy Yves Guillemot, CEO.
I love the East series.
Yeah, Yves. The,
Lacrimosa.
the ideal utopia. Yves was the first game I ever heard human speech in. I remember
Which East was it?
first one, Yves Book 1 and 2 for TurboGrafx.
Really?
Yep.
I played through part of
The
those.
Star Wars arcade machine, didn't that have one of the earliest like voice acting in games?
Like it was digitized.
You're
Like
talking
this
about
was like
non-digitized.
CD, like Red Book audio, where you're like, oh my god,
Yeah.
this is like a movie. And I would show it to all my friends, and they'd be like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!"
they're like, this is like movie.
yeah,
this
this
is
is like real people talking.
Look at Banner, Michael.
This is like theater.
Yeah.
Tom is secretly
So,
from
anyways,
Russia.
yeah. Back to our boy CEO Yves Guillemot, Books 1 and 2. He had the following statement. He said, "Ubisoft has fallen short in its obligation to guarantee a safe and inclusive workplace environment for its employees. This is unacceptable, as toxic behaviors are in direct contrast to values on which I have never compromised and never will." Wait a minute, Yves. Okay, you're the CEO. All this stuff happened on your watch, right? Like this.
Yeah.
Where is the accountability here? This is
don't-
kind of disingenuous to me a little bit. You know?
Yeah, I think at some point, it's this idea of like absolute power corrupts absolutely. You're going to ignore the things you don't like if everyone is kind of your yes man to begin with.
Yeah.
So if you can't even like witness the faults in what you're doing, and then there's no helping that.
Right.
You certainly become like the god of any situation.
And he is now the one kind of overseeing the quote unquote change in the company or the overhaul. So, yeah, I guess we'll see how that works out. But our thoughts go out to all the employees at Ubisoft. Hopefully, things do change. I work with a couple ex-Ubisoft employees, and
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, I'm going to strap on my Zoot
they got the
suit.
fuck out of video games, and now they're making warehouse software. I think they had enough of that shit.
Fun.
So.
I'm going to strap on my Zoot suit, put on a pair of sunglasses, slick my shitty hair back, and walk in there and ace that interview.
Yeah. All right. Well, stay tuned, everybody. We'll make a documentary series. You're training to like
Dylan makes
get
a game.
fucking interview.
God.
Any final thoughts on Ubisoft and all these allegations in general?
Clean them out. Do whatever you have to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
There's not much else to say beyond that.
No. And I've, like I said,
Make things right.
these are some of the highest ranking officials out of any of the companies, I think, that have been outed and kicked out. So moving on, still on the Ubisoft
Oh boy.
tip. They held their Forward event, which was basically their E3 non-E3 press conference, the day after all these allegations
Like
came
the
out.
Redskins announcing they're changing their name.
Right.
We're not trying to get ahead of a bunch of bad stuff right now.
Right. And interestingly, there was no mention of any of this, the allegations and the abuse stuff no acknowledgement at all at the event.
I will say this.
Not
I
surprising.
don't blame them for not doing it, because like we were talking on the last podcast, this is made by a lot of people, and their entire lives don't have to be defined by what
Of
other
lots of
people do.
faiths and religions.
Yes, exactly. A multicultural
team.
slew of people.
I don't know. I mean, come on. You should say something. Or at least
I don't think that you need to punish the people who didn't participate in this awful
I don't think you'd
behavior.
be punishing. I think
I
think people would want. I think the workers would want them to at least say like, "Hey, this shit went down yesterday. We get it. We know what happened. But here are the games."
I think you're right on that level, but I also think it's really hard to.
You do it in the middle after you mention your new hot game. You're like, just there's some allegations, and then we have
Giancarlo
Assassin's Creed.
Esposito, Far Cry 6.
Hey.
Dude, that
also,
guy-
we're really sorry.
That guy is everything right now. Giancarlo Esposito.
He's so
Rumor has
good.
it he's like the new Thanos. He's gonna play Doctor Doom in the MCU, is what they're saying.
Really? That'd be cool.
Giancarlo,
Yeah.
a little old, but okay.
He's the best.
I trust him.
I love him. I love that guy, man.
Yeah.
Just the best villain I think of all time.
You mean Dr. Victor Von Doom?
He won't be as good as
No.
the Trank Von Doom, but we'll see.
Gus Fring is, I think, one of the best. villains of all time. But yes, you're right, Dylan. Far Cry 6 was shown. I don't know. Did you guys watch this thing at all, or just catch the highlights?
Yeah, there are theories that his son is Voss from Far Cry 3.
I saw that.
They have similar. They have
an
similar eyebrow scar, and they kind of look alike. So
they said his name's Diego.
Yeah, but Voss can't be his real name.
I mean, it would keep in the Breaking Bad universe.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
Michael
I mean,
Mando.
it might be. Who knows?
I thought that'd be. Yeah, I think that'd be fucking cool if it was. It'd be cool if it wasn't. It was good to see. Yeah, Giancarlo as the supposed villain of the new Far Cry game, which takes place in a fictional Cuba. They're going back to a tropical locale.
They'll call it like Luba.
I love it.
Something.
It's perfect.
Luba. Okay, yeah.
That's my first pitch. We can work through this.
I have some of that in my closet.
Right. Make sure you bring that up in your job interview.
Luba.
So yeah, last Far Cry 5, took place in rural Montana. I like the Far Cry games. I don't love them, but
They are definitely playable.
they are playable. And God, you can just check off all those boxes and that the game wants you to do. And I wasn't really a big fan of the Montana thing. I was kind of wanted the tropical.
Exotic.
It is an interesting thing when they get actors to be like the focal point for a game series, like when they had Kevin Spacey in that one Call of Duty game or whatever.
Yeah,
that
Advanced
one didn't
Warfare.
age as well, but it's interesting that they're
Press X
using
to show your respects.
Or Jon Snow in that other one.
Yeah,
Kit
Infinite
Harington.
Warfare.
Yeah,
Wow. Had that at the ready. Hey?
I'm a pretty big George R. R. Martin fan.
Yes.
I got a werewood tattooed on my arm.
He likes Pompeii.
I mean, I've seen your room, so I've seen the posters.
I have one of the maps framed, but it's not up right now. Yeah.
And you look at it.
It's a map to my virginity. I had to put it down.
Do you hum the theme song to yourself every time you look at it?
I've been having some weird feelings about the Game of Thrones final season. I just get angry out of nowhere when I remember. I'm like, oh my God.
It's just I can't see anything.
I had that feeling this last week, and after not thinking about any of that shit for a while, I just had
really dropped.
I just
off
had
people's
like
radar.
Daenerys's face, like, and her like
because she's beautiful.
getting angry on her dragon, and then all of a sudden like lighting the whole fucking town on fire. And
She still looked hot, even when they tried to make her not look hot.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah,
Yep, that was frustrating.
she was the best Sarah Connor.
I don't know if you're joking or not.
I'm totally joking.
I mean, I'm not precious about it, but I think you're wrong.
Fuck you, Dylan. You're fired. You're fired. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, that was Far Cry 6. That
This isn't a job.
Far Cry 6 was meant to be a big reveal, but it was leaked, I think, the day or two before. So they kind of had to confirm it before that. So that was like supposed to be one of the big reveals.
You know what? I with every Ubisoft game, the first thing I have to do is wait for a review to come out. Because if it's going to give me exactly the same thing that I've had the millions of times beforehand, I don't have patience for another open world game. I'm sorry, I just don't.
Oh.
If it's gonna,
So you hate basically all Ubisoft games.
oh well, I used to love them. That's the problem.
They scratch an itch.
Open world.
Origins was great.
Yeah, open world games can be great because I think you'd say that you love Breath of the Wild.
Yes, I love that game.
Yep.
It's barely a Zelda game to me though. That's a different issue for another time.
Talk about a scandal.
Scandal, baby.
No shit. I don't even know where to go.
Breath of the
from
Wild
that.
is not a Zelda game. That's right. You heard it here first,
Doesn't
folks.
feel like it to me.
Yeah, Brad, what were you saying?
I was probably something clever and witty.
Yeah, just totally derailed.
Damn, dude. I really shocked you guys. I can tell.
Yeah.
There was
It
a
has really-
silence.
Oh, I was just saying, like, open world games. I think just because most of them are collectathons, I don't think that should turn you off from the concept entirely.
No. If the open world is compelling and the exploration feels like you're actually achieving something, I have no problem with it. Breath of the Wild achieves that because you got all the shrines and you can, like, it's all based on puzzles. It's based on how you've upgraded your character. There's an RPG aspect to it. It to see what's around the next mountain, and then do you remember the first time you saw one of those dragons fly by and you were like, "What the fuck is that?"
Such a cool moment of discovery.
Yeah. And with Far Cry though, it's just like, oh well, I know this area has a tower. I gotta clear out an encampment.
Very
beforehand.
formulaic, and sometimes sometimes the sameness. I love
You gotta be in the
Assassin's
mood.
Creed.
Yeah.
So I am okay. Like, part of the appeal of those games to me is the sameness. I know what I'm getting for the most part. Yes, I do want a little bit of innovation, but sometimes I'm like, yeah, I just want this game where I could just fucking podcast out and
No, I can
just
appreciate that.
tick off all the fucking boxes. So yeah, I guess we'll be playing Far Cry 6 on February 18th, 2021.
Yeah, dude, day one from GameStop.
And I guess they also showed additional footage of Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay, and we finally got a release date for that of November 17th.
They're going to have Mortal Kombat like bone breaking in this one.
I just saw that. Yeah, the X-ray.
A little
close-up
weird.
thing?
It makes sense for like the brutality of Vikings, though. I get it.
Sure. Yeah, so November 17th, and I'm thinking, okay, well, that kind of tips off when the consoles are probably coming out, the time frame.
I'm
Could
going
it
to
be
guess
a
day
day and
one.
date?
Yep.
Because
I'm going to say yeah.
I
my
know
guess.
they typically go Xbox first with Assassin's Creed. Like they have like the co-marketing thing. So I'm like, could this be like the Series X day that it comes out? Or either way, I think it's November.
That'd be a good release title.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, they're coming
I mean,
up.
it's not as good as something like Knack, but
Knack
yeah.
3.
Knack 3, baby.
Still waiting for that announcement.
Fantavision, the best.
There was an article that was like $5, like amazing $5 games on sale for the PlayStation Online right now, and I looked at the list and Knack was on there. I'm like, this is a lie. You said
A
amazing.
lot of people
games.
like Knack. I think Knack was pretty good. I played it.
You're an insane man.
Pass.
Insane man. Don't listen to this man. Just kidding. No, if you like
got-
something, you like it. Damn it.
Sure.
Fucking wear
Yeah.
that badge of honor.
Of course. Knack fan. I'm just going to make that pin for us.
Neck
It'd
fan.
be fun to do a Raw Dogs about Knack, trying to talk about it for longer than 5 minutes.
Oh my god,
Dude, I probably could. You'd have to give me a lot of weed.
Right.
You'd have to get me sufficiently drunk.
We got a knack for this sort of thing.
Yeah, I hope it's
we
like
could
the.
just keep doing puns.
I hope
That's
it's
all.
like the Russian roulette scene in The Deer Hunter. You guys just talk about
Yeah.
neck.
She's made of a lot of different pyramids and circles.
Watch Dogs Legion. Have you guys checked any of this gameplay out? Are you guys any Watch Dogs? fan?
I watched a little bit of
watched
this during
some
the
Watch Dogs?
presentation. I played the first Watch Dogs. I was, like most people, very disappointed.
Yeah, me too.
The second one's supposed to be great. I don't know. There's a part of me that's like, if it's on sale, but at the same time, another Ubisoft open world.
Yes.
And I'm kind of a completionist in that way. Like, if I leave too much untouched in a video game, I feel like I didn't give my worth. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
Same as you, man. I played the first one. I was looking forward to playing that one, and God, the story and the protagonist was just a big fucking dour wet blanket that it didn't resonate with me. Even though it was set in Chicago, which was kind of cool, and then like you, I heard the second one was actually really good, and I'm just like, I was so down on the first one. I'm like, fuck it, I'm not gonna play it.
Well, this one is the more. It's weird because this was announced and it's kind of like a fuck. This is like a real like fuck the system video game, and I don't know how it's like for some people that might be appealing because it feels very timely. I read a few articles about that, but I'm gonna be honest with you, like I couldn't play a game like that. It would get me too riled up.
Yeah.
It'd be really bad for a game to come out now like Professional Cop Simulator.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
The
timing is
fuck the
everything.
system games are those games are good now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You won't see a lot of new cop dramas coming to the television.
No, and I think a lot. I mean, Cops, the actual television show, got canceled.
And
Did you know that?
They were about to greenlight my new series, Good Cop, Bad Cop, and now it can't happen.
I'm the good cop. You're the bad
Right.
cop.
Yeah.
One cop's nice, the other one's really nice.
Might want to hold off on that. Yeah.
You're so good at your job.
You're good at your job.
Oh, come on.
So they announced some other stuff. I did not really watch it too much. So those are all the highlights that I included. Please, if you did watch the Ubisoft thing, let us know. Right in.
Please.
What did you like?
I
you
would
looking
love to
forward
hear
to?
what really like engages people with most of these games. Assassin's Creed, I've always gotten into, not just because of what it is, like a pseudo stealth game, but I appreciate it because it shows you a time and a place.
Yeah.
And usually it's relatively exotic and it's nothing you're used to in video games. So,
And some of the faux history stuff always appeal to me.
well, and especially
you
in Origins.
learn something.
Exactly. In Origins and Odyssey, especially, they really like take the time to be like, and this meant this for this culture. And
Oh, they take all the fucking
Yeah,
time.
They
Odyssey.
do. I've been through
all
museum
the
mode.
time.
Yeah.
Moving on, according to Bloomberg and the Nikkei Asian Review, Sony's increasing its 2020 PS5 production to 10 million units or thereabouts.
Shouldn't have a problem getting one then.
We'll see. Yeah, since the company sees, quote,
Now, is it the discless one? Because I don't want that.
yeah, right. 9 million of them are all the discless. The company sees a prolonged effects of the COVID-19 pandemic boosting demand for gaming. So Sony's production schedule originally had planned for a number closer to like 5 to 6 million units out by March 2021. I guess they're seeing some demand out there, you know.
Well, I won't be buying one until probably March or May of the next year, just because I don't want to have to deal with whatever hardware issues are actually going wrong, and where they can develop like a warranty system that actually makes sense. And you know,
I probably will get it day one. I think I changed my mind. I don't know.
This would be one where I'd be willing to wait possibly till they come out with like the slim version, because this thing is going to be big and long,
Yeah.
you know. But I do want to play
When they have like that super shitty like slide slide tray.
It's just like a piece of paper that goes
Is that
over.
the PS3?
Yeah.
Wow. Or
so.
like remember that $100 Wii thing that they made? What was it? Where it's no online or only?
The red one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
the tiny.
No Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Weird.
I think it was only released in Canada or some shit like that.
No, I actually know people here who have them.
Oh, motherfuckers.
It's mostly grandmas and grandpas
Oh.
who got it
I love
5
you,
years
Grandpa.
I can
ago.
bowl on this thing.
Yeah.
You know, I just got real good at bowling.
Yeah,
Scored a
so
300.
PS5 production has allegedly begun in June, so they're making them now. Sony also just recently had an announcement for an upcoming announcement. According to Sony, they said they will announce the date that PS5 pre-orders go live ahead of time, so they will let you know when they're going to go live. They're not just going to spring like the, hey, pre-order it now, which is nice.
That's fine.
This is fine. Yeah, Amazon, the PS5 page.
It's the type of world we live in. It's
Went
fine.
live. So we'll see. Xbox has their first party event this Thursday.
I'm very curious about this. I hear a lot of hype around a lot of titles being announced, actual first parties, because you know that's the reason they lost this console war, is literally because they didn't have enough.
That's one of the reasons.
I would almost want to predict a Halo Battle Royale type mode, Halo Infinity, whatever they want to call it. Sounds like a lot of players.
Probably a mode.
And
at
it's
least.
just them like putting another gun to the back of Halo's head and shooting it, in my opinion. We'll see. They haven't done anything good with it yet. The Master Chief Collection is fine. They did add, you guys aren't Halo guys, but they added a new skull.
I played through 2.
They added a new skull to
and
3
2.
where if you turn on the skull, you just hold the jump button and you can now just fly around the map anywhere you want.
What?
For single player, which I'm like, that's cool because you can go explore parts of the map that you
That
weren't
seems
meant
cool.
to. Yeah. The Master Chief Collection was also a fart, but they fixed it
at
after
launch,
the
yeah.
fact.
But now, I mean, if you are a Halo guy or gal, I mean, you're just a pagan shit playing that Master Chief Collection. It's got everything.
It is a really nice collection, but
I'm just curious if they can bounce back, because 4 and 5
Terrible.
were not well received.
they were terrible.
Never played 5.
I wouldn't even try.
I'm not going to. I probably won't play Infinite,
I probably will not either.
but I'm curious to see what they do to it, because they have to do something to
Yeah.
kind of get the juices and fans flowing again.
Well, from
gross.
anything we've seen, it just looks like they're like, okay, we get it, and then they're just showing you exactly what you want to see.
Yeah, but like you, I'm more interested to see what all the studios have been working on. I'm very curious.
They've got so many now. They've got to have something waiting in the wings, because that's the only way that anyone's going to be like the Xbox Series X. Are you fucking kidding me?
There's a rumor that Phil Spencer picked up the phone to inquire about purchasing the WB studios.
Oh yeah,
that we
I've heard
talked about.
that. I'd be fine with that.
What games would come with that?
Good question. Mortal Kombat.
The Arkham games.
Well,
Oh, yeah?
not with the licenses. You get the studios that.
You don't think they'll have a package deal?
Well, Microsoft would spend
The
money.
only,
to
well, yeah. Well, I mean, like that's
get
what
the
I'm saying.
license.
Like,
but
they'll-
just for that purchase, you're
Yeah.
not getting the licenses
Yeah.
with that, unless
as long as it's not fucking Activision that gets Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I agree.
The amount of microtransactions Mortal Kombat could have.
God.
I mean, it already does.
Right,
They
per
call,
punch.
They'd call them microaggressions or something, though.
Right.
Micro with a K.
So yeah, that was PS5 production. I will try to be a day oneer on one for sure.
There's a part of me that misses like standing in line for some of these things.
Yeah, the line would be so long with the 6 foot of distance now, you know?
That'd be funny though.
Yeah.
I could like vlog from there.
I tried to convince
Nevada.
I tried to convince my mom when I was in high school. I'm like, you should let me miss school so I can get in line and get a PlayStation 2 on launch. And she said that'd be stupid. And then the next day, people were selling them for over $1,000.
Sure.
And she's like, oh, you were right.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, no shit.
I did it for the Wii. I waited 14 hours at a Target
Shit, man.
in the dead cold.
Good for you. I think I paid $600 for my PS2.
Oh, it's
for
funny.
launch
Like
day.
That's how much
buddy-
it launched at?
Was that?
The PS2 launched at 600?
No, I paid $600 to get it from somebody who had
jeez.
a confirmed pre-order to get it on launch day.
Damn, Tom.
But they delivered it on a
He's
Sunday.
a gamer, man.
Yeah,
at this gamer
They
over
delivered
here.
it on a Sunday. They sprung for the good shipping back in 2000.
I
Blew
mean,
my mind.
I'll tell you, I have very vivid memories of like encapsulating myself in a sleeping bag. And every time I popped out, there were so many weird characters strewn throughout. Like this is like just north of Green Bay, Wisconsin, or just a little bit south. And there was a guy who had a fake eye having a football like tossed back and forth with a kid with Tourette's.
All right.
And it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my fucking life. And I was just too cold to even care. I laughed about it later, though. They seemed nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fuck yeah.
I've worked with many people with Tourette's, and
I love it.
they're good people.
Yes, they are.
All right, moving on.
And if you have a glass eye, that's pretty rad, too.
That
I would rather wear an eye patch myself, but, you know,
I think so.
I think it's a better look.
Yep, I would look like Charlton Heston in True Lies.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
You can pull that off.
I'm almost as old as he is.
Oh,
I just
boy.
own myself.
And
Okay.
you love guns just as much.
Yeah. You damn dirty apes. Okay. Now, moving from Sony, let's move to Microsoft. Their Project X Cloud streaming service will be available to subscribers of Game Pass Ultimate starting in September. This will allow users to stream their Game Pass games to their phones, tablets, and other mobile Ds.
I'll have to try
That's
that
it
out.
for devices. The service has been in beta testing for some time now, and right now will only be available in certain countries when it begins rolling out, which Microsoft has yet to reveal, but US and parts of Europe are pretty good bets, in my opinion. Over 100 games will be available when it launches. And will you guys try it out? You guys Xbox Game Pass?
I'm a Game
You're
Pass user, but I'm not an Ultimate user. Ultimate's where you have it on the computer as well, right?
Yeah.
I have Ultimate, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds cool, though.
Yeah, I'm willing to
I'll try it out.
check it out.
I'll try it out.
It's not going to be the way that I game, because if I'm gaming, I'm going to be at home. Mm-hmm. Yeah, or with Wi-Fi somewhere, so...
I mean, it's neat. I mean, I had a PS Vita alongside PlayStation 4.
Oh, yeah.
That worked very well.
I'd say
Remote
it's
play.
another nail in Stadia's coffin, this announcement, but I think that coffin's already been buried.
Yeah. I mean, early reports of the xCloud stuff had been pretty positive. I haven't heard anything recently, but I heard that it was pretty legit from people who had tested it out. And it's, I guess, really easy to get games up and running. I mean, they got games up and running on it. Microsoft got games up and running on it for the developers. They didn't have to do anything to get it up and running.
Oh,
So-
that's slick. So they had like an algorithm ready for this.
So they basically took Batman Arkham Knight to Rocksteady and say, hey, we got your game running, Whereas Stadia, there's a lot of back end stuff that has to be done by developers to get it running. So,
Well, it's cool. It's just something that they have to just click into place then. It doesn't seem like they have to go in
yeah,
and really
not a lot of heavy
redevelop.
lifting, I
Yeah.
don't think, or not as much at least. So, all right. I will try that out. We will try that out. Getting down the list here. Do you guys check out that Lego NES set?
Yeah.
It looks pretty cool.
I
Yeah.
might actually buy that. That seems kind of fun.
I think I'm going to too. It's available August 1st.
yeah.
The set is 2,646 pieces and it allows you to build a replica non-working NES.
Dude, if it was working, that'd be like amazing.
That'd be dope, yeah.
Well, that's one of the reasons.
Someone's going to make that
Oh,
mod.
yeah.
yeah, someone's going to mod that.
That's why I wanna get
the
it.
moment of. But it comes with a little TV and
Yeah.
you get to make like a Lego Mario on the screen. I kind of really think that's slick.
Yeah,
as
so
fuck.
you can build a CRT like little TV that has a scrolling background with a Mario and has a crank on it that moves the background and it makes noises. Apparently, it can interface with the other Lego set that's coming out on the same day on
Oh, the
August 1st.
dopey looking Mario one?
With the game, like the Lego Mario?
Yeah,
Super
I
Mario?
actually plan on getting a few sets of those.
Okay. Yeah. It does something like make noises.
Yeah.
If you put.
Yeah.
Conversely, did you see that like the Lego artwork that they're releasing now, where you can get like a Darth Vader? It's like almost like a picture you'd put on your wall, and you assemble like the picture.
Oh, no.
that's cool.
Like a puzzle?
I thought it looked cool, but then I found out they're all those really tiny little circle pieces, and you're just like lining up a million little circles.
Someone's going to love that.
Well, to me, I don't know. That sounds weird to me, but yeah,
And then you're missing one.
you're missing one
And
of
you
them.
have like the OCD.
A lot of YouTubers who open like mailbags on their channels.
Yeah.
Like there are people who troll them and send them like replacement pieces for Legos. Like if you just report that you're missing a piece and then you send it to someone's PO box, it's just extra mail that they're getting. So they would keep trolling them. Very funny.
That's awesome. Yeah, and you also can build a Super Mario Brothers NES cartridge. Again, non-working, but the Lego cartridge can be inserted into the Lego NES. I don't know. It looks pretty cool. The set's going to be like $230.
Nope, not getting that.
Holy shit, that's a bit nope.
Yeah.
Legos are fucking expensive.
I didn't even look at the price.
Yeah, but
You get an entire Lego video game for like $10.
I mean, what if you put a Retro Pie inside the fucking NES, the Lego NES?
Well, then it'd only be a $280 toy you didn't
God, it'd be
need.
so cool.
I'm not gonna try to figure that shit out. We don't even know if the controller's Lego too. You can't
Yep.
Or would you rather buy another game for your Neo Geo, Tom?
Ooh. Well, it depends on the game.
Yeah. You already got Nom 95, so or 75, 90.
75.
It's on a shelf somewhere.
So yeah, there you go. Let us know if you were interested in the Lego NES set, people, because I want to know.
I want the little.
I'm more excited for the Sonic Connect set.
Oh, gross.
The Duplo blocks.
I'll say
Yeah,
this. I think the little Mario Lego figure, the one with the LED like screen, I think that looks fun. So I'm gonna buy at least that set.
It looks intriguing for you should buy that and bring it on the podcast.
I will.
Well, first we got to save up our money for the Game Gear micros. So
All of them.
forgot.
all of them, because I want to
Almost
get
forgot
all
about that.
16 games.
I did say I'd get the Sonic one.
Well, I just want to make sure I get the magnifying glass for it.
Yeah.
All
gonna be
right.
necessary.
Moving on, here's our last story. We have the NPD results for June from GameIndustry.biz. According to the NPD Group's data, overall spending on games in June was up 26% year over year to $1.2 billion, the highest June spending since 2009. Good job, people. But
It was
Good job spending your money.
yeah,
it was us that did it.
it was us.
Pat yourselves on the back here, people.
Yep. Hardware spending was down in June by 17% year over year to only $191 million.
That's
They didn't
Stadia's fault. You don't have to buy hardware anymore.
That is true. Cannibalization.
You don't even need that controller, apparently.
Nintendo Switch continues to be the best-selling console in both unit and dollar sales.
Oh, yes.
Fuck yeah.
I guess accessory sales were actually up 29% year over year to $417 million.
Yes.
With
Do you know how hard it is to find a pair of Joy-Cons?
how hard?
Really quite hard.
Very, very difficult.
Yeah.
You can't find them anywhere, at least in physical stores. Nah.
No,
All gone.
but your girlfriend's got the hookup,
She found me a pair.
or your fiance, your unfianced.
Don't say.
Yeah. Guimard.
I do have to replace the analog sticks on my yellow pair at this point again because of Joy-Con drift,
Fucking drift.
which I know how to do now, so it's not that difficult.
They didn't mention the Xbox Elite Series 2 wireless controller was both the best-selling accessory for the month and for 2020
Oh no
so
shit!
far.
Really?
So take that, Joy-Cons. But Joy-Cons had to be like pretty up there.
Well, at a certain point, Nintendo didn't realize that this pandemic was coming.
It was the rock and roller for the NES.
It's literally just like it all went away, and they're still having trouble resupplying. So
Yep.
yeah.
All right. Well, here's your list of the top 10 games in sales
Let's hear them.
in June 2020. Number 1.
Wait, shouldn't you go 10 all the way up to 1?
Ooh,
That's what you would do.
countdown. I think that's pretty cool.
Countdowns are way cooler, Tom. Unless you're only talking about the number 1.
Well, okay. Number 10, Minecraft Dungeons.
My favorite game of 2020.
Number 9,
They made a sequel to Minecraft?
Oh fuck!
Number nine, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
I cannot believe everyone should fucking own this game by now. It should already be out there. I don't understand.
More people are buying Switches.
Come on.
But
Yeah.
I mean, they're not even around, so they're just buying this game.
Yeah.
Like,
That's why we were talking on the last podcast. You're like, oh, they need to come up with Mario Kart 9. And I'm like, man, why? No, they just keep selling this fucking thing.
I heard Mario Kart
entirely.
9 is going to take place in Germany.
Soundtrack by Rammstein.
Dude, I need it.
And
it's all
Koji
one long
Kondo.
road. They just call it the Autobahn.
Koji Kondo and Rammstein. teamed
Collaboration.
I'd be all in.
That'd be
up. Two hops.
Number 8, NBA 2K20. Number 7. This one is up from previously in May. It was number 835. It is now number 7. Ring Fit Adventure.
Hell yeah.
Was restocked. So
They keep showing ads to me on YouTube for it now, and I'm just like, I already own it.
Yeah, jumping 828 places. Good job, Ring Fit. Number 6, Red Dead Redemption 2. Number 5, Mortal Kombat 11. Number 4, a game you never heard of called Grand Theft Auto 5.
Wait, what? They released the
Jesus.
5th one?
Yes, they did, all the way back in 2013.
Holy shit, I'm late to the party.
Number 3, Animal Crossing. Number 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. And number 1, welcome to the list for the first time, The Last of Us Part 2.
See, it's much
Well,
better
anyone-
to go up to number 1, Tom.
I kind of agree.
I could go either way.
It's the suspense.
Yeah, it's not a suspenseful thing for me. It's just like, yeah, here you go.
It's because you already made the list. You already know.
You're right.
You have all the power here, Tom.
I do have
I
all
mean,
the
I'm
power.
literally reading it along with him, but
All right.
I still think it's interesting.
Well, that's your news, Dylan. We do have a Nintendo
Mini Direct.
mini direct that just hot off the presses, right?
Now, did you watch this as well, Brad?
No, I read the news articles and it said it was mostly a bunch of indie games. I know Shin Megami Tensei, however you say it's coming,
Yep.
which is cool.
2 Shin Megami Tensei games.
Fuck.
There's going to be a remaster of Nocturne. 3.
Nocturne. I almost got that one.
And then there's going to be 5, and 5 looks fantastic. A lot of talk. It's a cutscene. I'll tell you that much. But a lot of talk about how
the game's a cutscene or just the
what they
trailer?
showed.
Okay, yeah.
And it's a lot of talk about killing God and stuff. And I love it when teenagers kill God. So I'm
Hey.
in.
Hashtag Final Fantasy.
Yeah. They also showed some game it's called oh my god, it's called Rogue something. It's a third person action shooter.
Yeah.
It looks fine. It's not my game.
Okay.
Well, there was one more thing.
6 out of 10.
Yeah, I don't know. The news didn't.
It was literally so forgettable, except for Shin Megami Tensei. It's.
You're my Shin Megami Tensei.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know what that means. Come on, you're Captain Ninfrendo here.
Fuck it, but it
you just
didn't
watched this
interest me.
shit.
Oh, they also revealed DLC for Cadence of Hyrule.
Yeah, that's
the Crypt of the
other one.
Necrodancer.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Not expansion. it's a
Necro
different-
Dancer. What a good pun.
Have you ever played Crypt of the Necrodancer?
No, I've heard it. It's really
It's
good.
very good. It's really good on the Switch too. It's perfect for a.
I
portable
forgot
game.
about Cadence of Hyrule. I was really interested in getting that one. That was last year when that was announced.
It was too pricey for me at the time. And now with all this DLC, they did announce that there's actually going to be the game with all of its DLC in one bundle coming out in October. I think I'm just going to wait for that. So,
Okay.
And probably a physical copy as well. So I think that's probably the route I'll take. I'll let you know. I was really bad at Crypt of the Necrodancer though. So
I heard it
don't
gets
know.
pretty difficult.
It's challenging.
Yeah. But-
Otherwise, it was literally 4 things. That's
Yeah.
pretty much
It was
it.
a
like 10
very
minutes.
mini direct. Yeah.
Well, they're all of our partners. I think they're worried about not keeping the hype up. And so I think we're going to find a lot of minis. I think there's probably going to be another one within the next month and a half or so just to keep people
Well, I
on
think
the hook.
they probably got scared after the Stadia direct. They knew they had to put something out there.
Yeah.
People were concerned.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to take over the world, guys.
They announced Bomberman for the Stadia.
Dude.
Bomberman R.
Yeah.
For ridiculous. Okay.
For ridiculous.
All right. That's been your news. Let's move on to what we've been playing.
I volunteered to go last for this one.
Okay.
Really?
I will, I guess, go first.
I am so anxious for this.
I did finish a game called The Last of Us Part 2, and that was a video game. It was an experience. It was
Yeah.
an experience.
How did it make you feel?
Conflicted. Very conflicted.
Yeah.
It was a game that I thought was over 2 or 3 times. And nope.
It's
Still no.
I hear it's twice as long as the first one.
It took me about a little better than 30 hours to beat.
Well, I mean, I remember the first one. I got that done in like 13.
Yep. That's about right. 13, 15
Yeah.
ish. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a game that could have used, I think, an editor. Just like, it's almost just like Uncharted 4, a game that could have been maybe a third shorter.
Just because you can make a game that long doesn't mean you should.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Neil Druckmann's editor needs an editor, I think. But that said, it is a very beautiful game, technically proficient game, one of the best looking games I've ever played. Or just attention to detail. Like
That's almost expected from Naughty Dog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The story, I mean, the story is, it drags at points, but I don't want to give it short shrift because I do think it tries to do some interesting things, but some of the things it does well.
I love how vague you're being about. Like you can't. Yeah, spoilers.
No,
Obviously.
I
It's just,
will not.
It's just.
No.
Unless,
It's fun watching you dance around.
I wish one of you had played it that we could like. Have
I watched through the whole story. That's the only thing I can judge, though. I can't judge the gameplay because I
Right.
didn't touch the gameplay.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
because the agency is part of the experience.
I just knew I was going to get spoiled. That's the whole reason I was just like, well, I might as well lean into it and just watch someone else play it, essentially.
Yeah, and I think some of the things that the story does are just a little try to beat you over the head with some themes. You can kind of see where the story's going here and there.
But I heard it was the Schindler's List of video games.
Oh my God, no.
Someone on Twitter said that, Brad.
Yeah,
Because there's a little girl in a red dress.
Sure. And definitely Liam Neeson's there, too.
yeah,
Voldemort's the bad guy.
Yep.
right. Yeah, he only wished he could save more. His only regret. But it has moments like the Uncharted like set piece moments. There are a few of those, a few boss fights that are pretty cool. Maybe one day I will give my full thoughts on it, but I know people are still kind of working through it because it is one of those games where right when you think it's over, it's, oh shit, I have half another game to go. And
So you're still feeling conflicted? You're not really sure what your final verdict is?
yeah, I mean, if
You
I
sound like you're trying to convince yourself it's better than it actually was.
it
kind of feels
it
that
has
way.
merits,
You're in denial
You're
right
you're
now.
also just too nice.
Yeah, I'm not a big, like I said, I'm not a big fan of that gameplay. So for me, it is the story that gets you through, or is the carrot on the stick that makes you want to play through it. And I
that really
think
wouldn't
it does-
work for me. I don't even like carrots. You just
We do it with apples.
put a beer on a stick.
Yeah, you kill dogs,
Yeah, that sucks. I hear a lot of people are just kind of like, yeah.
which is, I mean,
I hear it's just the
I
brutality.
would kill
in
them
which you do
too
it.
because
Yeah.
they're trying to kill you.
Right.
What are you going to do? You kill people.
No one bats an eye about killing people.
No,
No one
right.
would. Why would you?
Yeah.
Nobody cares now.
Yeah, like
in
I
our
said,
real world.
the morality play that it makes,
Yeah.
I could kind of see coming from a mile away. But they do enough interesting things.
Well, when
where-
you've been stuck inside with Snoopy for 4 months, and you have to kill a dog in a video game, it's like, I mean, that's a little too close. you know?
Yeah, I do like the dog mechanic though. How there is a mechanic where you have a scent and the dogs can pick up your scent, but if you go to like the listening mode, you can see where the scent is, so you can try to.
Outsmart them.
It's a
away
bad
from that.
sign if you can see your own scent. That you're really reeking something then.
Yeah,
like
it's
it's
a
pretty
rough.
dirty.
It's a rough fucking
gets
world,
real
man.
dirty.
Yeah.
She would
But
definitely have a
the thing I liked about the game more than the combat were like the quiet moments when you are just walking around the world and exploring the dilapidated, civilization that you were kind of stuck in. Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't my cup of tea.
Why don't we wait a month or so, and then you can actually give your full kind of
Yeah.
like breakdown.
Okay. One thing I do want to say
Yeah,
is,
sit on it for a little while.
yeah,
Yeah.
Because you're clearly like conflicted on the idea. So I mean, it's not even worth like saying if it's
Well, I'm conflicted, and I don't want to like give anything away at all because just in
Yeah.
case anybody wants to still play it yet, because hey, some people don't play this shit on day one.
Well, I mean, it sounds to me like if you pick up this game, you kind of know what you're getting from a gameplay standpoint, and
Yeah.
and then everything else is the harder thing to kind of get into.
Yes.
So-
And the gameplay has not evolved very much past the first one, outside of you can go prone now and you have a jump button. Resources are way more plentiful this time around. Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to the fucking games media. You fucking assholes. Just because a game's been out for like a week and a half doesn't mean you can just like willy-nilly start posting spoilers or
I know.
Or things that you think are innocuous that kind of like tip you off to like what happens later or to certain characters in a game.
That's why you got to see like, you know, the new Star Wars movies when that weekend they come out. Otherwise, things are going to get spoiled.
Yeah. I mean, Kotaku posted just a picture of this one character. And
that's all it takes.
Yeah. And which,
if you're a pseudo-intelligent human being, you can kind of grab the context from that alone.
do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know
Like-
exactly what you're talking about.
Like, this game has the best blah, blah,
That's
blah.
when I decided to spoil the whole game. for
Okay,
myself.
yeah.
Someone like some people used to spoil shows for me where they just say this character is still around in that season. I'm like, you have spoiled now that character doesn't die.
Exactly. It's what this happened.
Yeah.
Because the existence of this character confirms the existence of another character.
Personally, I've never been too precious about spoilers, but I do feel for other people who want to feel surprised.
But for a game like Last of Us, where it is the story, you know, like, I don't want to know.
there are some people who really
anything.
love the gameplay. I don't understand that, but it's their opinion, you know.
It's all over the map. Some people really like it, some people don't. So that's Last of Us 2.
I'll play the remaster on PlayStation.
7.5 out of 10 for
I'm
me.
going to get it on when the PS4 Mini comes out.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep.
It'll probably be.
I did start Ghost of Tsushima on Friday when it came out. And
Do you have a physical copy?
I do not.
Okay.
It hasn't hooked me, but it's just about to. I really enjoy it so far. What I played, only played a few the opening hours of it. It's Sucker Punch. It's their take on Assassin's Creed. They listened to all the AC fans that said, Ubisoft, you should make an Assassin's Creed back in feudal Japan. And
that's what
like,
it is?
fuck it, they're not going to make it. We're going to make it.
Yeah.
So
Eventually they will.
but it does. It has its own unique things that it does, and it's kind of. I really enjoy it, and it's fucking another beautiful game. You know, just a shout out to Naughty Dog and Sucker Punch. These are pretty much the last two big games of this generation.
Yeah.
that are solely going to be on this generation until
Ghost
like
of
the
Tsushima
remaster.
wasn't really hyped that much.
It wasn't. I mean, it was at first. And
There was
then-
a trailer that came out that everyone was very excited
Yes.
about.
It's like an E3 thing.
Yep.
That was a couple years ago. Yeah, I was just like, whoa, what is this?
Yes. I do like the character so far. Your main character gets his ass beat in the opening moments.
I've seen comparisons to Kurosawa films, so that has me excited there. I'm a big
Yes.
Kurosawa fan.
If you're like the AC, which I think you probably do, try it out.
I'm intrigued. It's also another open world video game.
Oh, it is. It is.
I still have too many games that I need to be
too
playing.
much.
Yep.
I really want to do Nier Automata and Persona 5 still, so.
Nier
Okay.
Automata is a good open world game.
Both those will take you to 2027. So, yeah.
Yeah.
You'll be playing Ghost of Tsushima 5 by that time.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be releasing them every year like Assassin's Creed games.
Cool.
So, anyways, still playing that. And I'll give you a better assessment on the next Dogcast. Yeah, enjoyed that. Dylan, what have you been playing?
I've been playing Paper Mario, the Origami King.
Ooh.
For the Nintendo
The origami.
Switch. The origami,
killer.
if you're from Wisconsin, yes.
That art style
Or Heavy
in that
Rain.
game is amazing.
You know, it's a good holdover. Paper Mario for
Isn't
the
it just
N64.
more Paper Mario?
But it's
1,000 Year Door
It's
style?
the vividness of things. In Paper Mario, the 1,000 Year Door, and Paper Mario for the N64, they have to hide a lot behind like a cell shaded graphic. This one in Color Splash, they've really gone out of their way to actually make the environments extremely beautiful. It's rich, it's easily navigatable. Everything just looks straight up fantastic. There's never a time where you feel like you're taken out of what's going on.
I read that one of their goals was every single frame, they want there to be something interesting happening that keeps you engaged, either in the background or the foreground or with characters. They
Yes.
said they always have to have something unique and interesting happening.
That is the true delight of this game. I think the combat is fine. If you were expecting an RPG, don't. It has light RPG elements.
The puzzle, like the concentric circles that you rearrange. My problem with Mario RPGs, which we're going to talk about on Raw Dogs for our next episode, but they're so easy. Now, if they took that same battle mechanic and they made it like an extra hard version where you actually have to be super smart at navigating those quickly, I think there's such potential for that mechanic.
So I've been through it long enough now. I'm in the end of the second area.
So does that mean you beat one of the Elementals? And
I have 2 of the Elementals. I'm at the...
You beat the one of the League of Stationary?
Oh, yeah, I have. The pencil missile one.
Yeah.
Spoilers, guys. Jeez.
The boss battles in this game are, in my opinion, the highlight.
Yeah.
You have to navigate yourself from the edge of the map instead of being in the middle and lining things up. So you have to create a path for yourself to navigate your way to the boss. And there are different power-ups along the way. Yeah, but you only get so many turns of this puzzle. So you basically have to decide what you're going to do each turn, and then there's a time limit involved as well.
Oh, cool.
So it's like, especially when you get to the bosses, it can be very stressful to people who don't like a timer counting down on you. But you can make it easy mode. You can pay to like extend the time with actual like the coins you get in the game. I'll be honest with you, there are some like random encounter puzzles that completely stump me. Now normally you can group the enemies together and that's how you figure out the puzzle, but sometimes all of the enemies are the same and you're just like, how do I line these ones up correctly and which items do I use against them?
Okay.
One of the things that kind of threw me off a little bit is that there's no actual... You don't earn experience points.
Yeah.
You don't earn experience points.
How do you level up, man?
You don't level up.
Fuck.
By
progression?
traveling and exploring, you can raise your maximum HP by finding toads that are scattered throughout the map.
Fucking toads.
What this does, though, by not having experience points, the amount of battles you run into starts to feel tedious, and you're going to start wanting to avoid all the bad guys because you're not going to get that progression you get from...
Unless you need money, there's no reason to have that happen. Now, there are scripted ones. There are scripted segments which actually make you feel like you're progressing in a story. Like, they'll be, like, attacking a specific toad, and you're like, I got to rescue that toad. So the fight actually feels like you're earning something because the more toads you rescue, the more you can unlock in the museum area. I think that's pretty brilliant, but... enemies roaming throughout the map, for the most part, if you understand the puzzle aspect of it, you're going to whiz through this. There are some people, like even reviews that I read later, where the boss battles are too hard for them. I don't really understand that, but I can see how for some people it's just not traditional. It's not super straightforward, and sometimes the strategies, they don't plainly say this is what you need to do. You have to kind of intrinsically know by observing. It doesn't hold your hand for the most part, though.
How does the writing stack up?
Oh, it's
to others.
It's very funny. The first, this doesn't spoil anything, but the first companion you get on the way to the Autumn Mountains, he's a Bob-omb. He's just called Bob-omb. And
poor character design. He's not Paper Mario games always have.
I don't think any of these ones are going to be.
Paper Mario has such like cutesy versions of bad guys.
Yeah, like Goombette from
Goombella.
I'm sorry.
And
I played that game when
Goombario. I love Goombario.
Goombario's cool. Yeah, and like these ones don't really stand out, but the writing actually boosts them a little bit. In fact, even from like for the most part, Bob-omb will join you in battle, but he barely does shit because he's either too lazy or kind of afraid and doesn't really want to. It's kind of nifty. It's kind of throwing the idea on its head. This is not at the same time for the people who wanted, like me, another Paper Mario in the vein of the N64 and Thousand Year Door. At this point, it's not even close. At this point in the series, there are more that are not that than there are of it. So I don't know if they'll ever bring that back.
No. That's not where Shigeru wants them to take it anymore either.
At the same time, like I get that.
He said for I think it was Sticker Star, he's like, get rid of the story. No one cares about the story. I'm like, the writing in Thousand Year Door was so fucking good.
Yeah.
I just it disappoints me, and they're not making any more of the Mario and Luigi series. So it's like,
R.I.P. Alpha Dream.
So I wonder what they're actually going to do with that. Notoriously, Shigeru Miyamoto does not like RPGs.
What a jerk.
Finds
He
them
sucks.
tedious. It's the main reason that the first Mother was never released here, even though it was set and ready to go.
Children just want to play and jump around.
He was always a daddy's boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I think so.
you know, I'm really enjoying the experience, and I'm going to keep going through it. Like Brad said, it's like a wealth of just like little itty bitty surprises. There's always a new mechanic too, but it's something you would know how to do already. Like traveling down, recently I traveled down a river, and you just have to avoid while collecting coins, or like there are like sliding puzzles in some of these temples, and they give you a lot of things to think about. And finding the toads is honestly my favorite part about this.
Awesome.
Finding the toads in the environment, because you get your hammer and everything's sort of hidden, or there are things that don't immediately jump out at you. And if you just go around hitting stuff, you can find them, and it scratches that collection itch. Because I'm a huge like Banjo-Kazooie fan, and if you give
you're
me
a
something,
monster.
if you find me something to collect in
You
video
buy
games,
these games so people
Yeah.
they think people like them and they keep
Yeah.
making them, and then we get Donkey Kong Country 64.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Part 2.
I'll tell you this.
By Naughty Dog.
I don't know if either of you guys will like it, but the moment I'm done, I'll let you guys borrow it, and I'd like to see what you actually think about it.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's never going to be challenging.
It is challenging.
The boss battles, sure, but
The random
otherwise,
encounters do. Challenge.
I don't know. I think the game like that, I'm going in for the amazing design, like the art design.
Yeah.
And the Paper Mario games, even the ones that I don't like, they still have absolutely like fun, interesting dialogue.
Yeah.
So I mean, even if the gameplay isn't necessarily challenging enough, which I'm not sure if it is or not for me, but I'd still want to check it out.
Well, and the story is so good, and it actually lends itself to this almost point and click adventure game style. That's something you would enjoy about this, Tom. It's a lot of going around the map, collecting one thing that does another thing to get you another thing to go to another place. And blah blah blah.
I like that.
I actually think you would enjoy it on that level. And Allie's been watching me play. She's like, I would just sit here and watch this. Like, this is just like it's a barrel of fun. I just don't think it's I don't think it's near what I wanted. Which is okay. A game doesn't have to be what I want. So I'm just going to play it. And then by the end of this, I'll tell you whether or not it actually stacks up, because I'm still relatively early. That said, it's going to be a very long game.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's going to be a very long game.
Yeah, I haven't read.
I'm picturing about 40 hours.
Okay.
Take that or leave that for what you will.
God damn. Wow.
I played through the Gift Horse games, so if you want to check those out, it's basketball and 2D platformers. Check out the YouTube channel. I put about 6 hours into Theater Rhythm, that DS game, and played some Mario and Luigi Dream Team. And this other game I've been wanting to talk to you guys about it.
Oh, God.
But I wanted to wait till we were on the podcast.
Oh, God.
Let's just go ahead and say Father Gascoigne is down.
Oh, no.
Hell yes.
As well as Gehrman and the Moon Presence. I have beaten Bloodborne, guys.
Holy shit,
What?
you blew through this.
I did 40 hours in about 4 days.
It's that good.
I was in Central Yarnum at the beginning, and those fucking villagers and that mob, I stayed there for probably 3 or 4 hours. But I died many times, and I couldn't crack the code. And so I was like, fuck this game. I'll try and play it again later. But then I wound up thinking about, it's a puzzle that I had to figure out, and just how to navigate through there.
Yeah.
And, you finally unlock that gate so you can get like a shortcut.
Yes. I want the shortcuts.
I became obsessed. And the first boss, the Cleric Beast, wasn't so bad.
He's dealable. He
Yeah.
just really intimidates.
Father Gascoigne kicked my ass many times. And it's frustrating that you have to run so far. Yeah. That's my only, I think, major gripe is like, could you not have put something a little closer? But they don't have to. They can do what they want.
You're talking like bridge right beforehand.
Well, I mean, it's a long walk to get to where he is.
Yeah, that's the pain of a Soulsborne.
Yeah. But beat all the bosses. I didn't do the Chalice dungeons, that like bonus stuff, or the DLC.
Don't worry about that.
Dude.
But yeah,
good for you, man. That's awesome. Congrats.
yeah.
I hope you enjoyed it though.
That's
the reason I beat it in so
You
4
couldn't
days.
have done it if you didn't want to.
Well, yeah, Carly's like, we should clean this place up. I'm like, I literally can't do anything else until I beat this game right now. I would wake up earlier than usual so I could get a couple extra hours in. I found most of the bosses after the first round to not be super difficult.
That game
Yes.
the difficulty is definitely stacked.
And I don't know
earlier in that game than it is.
Gascoigne, I think, really teaches you.
Gascoigne, he's the one who teaches you parrying.
Yep, parrying and items, and I love the way lore is handled in that game.
Dude, you're...
Oh yeah, you love all Souls
You'll
games.
love any Souls game. Dark Souls is going to change
I think you were right when you pitched Bloodborne to me as being maybe more up my alley because it's so Lovecraftian and horror based.
Yeah.
Because that just scratched an itch that I had. That's my favorite game I've played so far this year.
That moment when things really change after Rom, the vacuous spider.
And all of a sudden, you're seeing like those giant
Big aliens,
amygdala.
creatures.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Awesome.
It is my favorite Soulsborne.
And then I found I was hoarding insight because I'm like, this is limited. I don't want to. I don't know what. Well, I didn't know that I was actually making the game harder by holding on to all my insight.
You were. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you play any of the DLC or anything yet?
No, I'm not going to spend money on the old
okay.
hunters. I'm already halfway through New Game Plus because I found out you can. I'm like, I'll just run through everything. I know how to just run through stuff now.
Absolutely.
Although
you'll be speedrunning it now.
I watched the speed run after the fact.
You you're like gathering all this soul, like the essence of things, and you're just like, I love seeing that number go up.
Yeah, but then it goes
One of my
down.
favorite things is beating a Soulsborne and then watching the speed run and just watching
Feeling
people
like
just
an utter
fucking
piece
like
of crap. Yeah.
beaten like 45 minutes. Like, God damn it.
Well,
That took me like
most of the bosses you find out like those limb-based ones for sure.
Yeah.
You just hug the back, and then they will miss you half the time.
Well, and Soulsborne games, the first time I play them, I try not to use a walkthrough.
I definitely needed to grab a guide after a while, but I refused. I wanted to explore and kind of go through as much as I could before I was like, all right.
It takes away a lot of the surprise.
Because you're never going to know to drop down in like the upper cathedral ward to get that 1/3 umbilical cord by dropping into a random weird room.
Ebrietas.
Yep. You would never know that you need to send like the prostitute to the Tomb of Odin or whatever it's called, and then eventually she gets like pregnant, and you have to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's no way
Kill
you
the
would know
wet
that
nurse.
stuff.
No, and this is the least forgiving of them. If you want like a true ending, in the other like Souls games,
Yeah, if you miss something,
you're fine
And
usually.
those
Fucked.
bastards, I tried to just
Unless it's
see
like a
how much a
specific
strategy guide is. They're only like for sale for like over $100 on Amazon because they
Really?
only did like hardcover Ultimate
Yeah.
editions, and they only made so many of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can use a IGN guide. Or
I
it's
found
fine.
one online that I was able to look through, but
Wow.
Bloodborne,
Well, good job,
my
man.
favorite game so far this year.
I'm glad.
All I have left is MLB The Show for 7 hours, and I'm done with my challenges.
Whoa.
I'm not worried because I know Josh won't do a single one of his challenges.
That's right.
But, it'll be good to have that.
Nice
checked
guys
off.
finished last.
Well, I've got Brave Exvius on my fucking phone now.
There you go. That's one step in the right direction.
3 whole fucking megabyte or three
All right.
3 whole megabytes, 3 whole fucking gigs of shit. Here,
Yes.
I fucking hate this.
All right,
shit.
well, let's celebrate Brad beating his first Soulsborne game by taking this break
Yes.
and listening to these shows from the Greenlit Podcast Network. We'll be right back to talk about scandalous times, everybody. See you in a bit.
Hey there, this is Jeremy Parrish, and if you're a fan of classic video game soundtracks, or if you just love 20-minute rock epics about war-ready armadillos that battle Catholicism, you should listen to Alexander's Ragtime Band. Join the power trio of myself, Elliot Long, and James Eldred each month as we talk about the most pretentious music of all, progressive rock, right here on the Greenlit Podcast Network.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Dunn, and I'm inviting you to listen to Our 3 Cents, a weekly podcast where myself and 2 of my very best gaming chums are counting down our top 100 favourite video games of all time. For all the episodes and information, check out our website, www.our3cents.co.uk.
And we're back.
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah.
Talk about a long poop.
Wow.
Wow, I really took a big dumper.
We know.
Sorry, I was trying to be scandalous when I said that.
Oh, I have no shame, so
So yeah, we are going to be talking about scandals in the gaming universe, and we just to preface this, we realize there are so many scandals. Do you know we could make an entire podcast series just on Scandal. Oh my God.
Sorry.
Brad just opened one of his Sabro-Tooth Tiger IPAs from Surly Brewing.
Dylan was gracious enough to let me have one of his beers.
That's really nice of you, Dylan.
Yeah,
Well, you guys always share with me. So
There's a lot of scandals.
There are so many. So we're not going to be exhaustive here. We're just going to each of us share a couple.
some of our favorites.
Some of
So
our
when
favorites.
Sora wasn't the main character in the first Kingdom
There would be
Hearts
no
2
Kingdom-
for the first 8 hours, scandalous.
I said, who's this Roxas?
Who's this Roxas? I realized it's his name with an X and it's respelled. I was like, what? Who's this guy? Who's this guy? Scandal.
We will for sure be revisiting this topic down the road, so there will be many opportunities to
Yes.
discuss some scandals. And just asking people on social media today, we got a lot of good ideas where I'm like, oh my God, yeah. I guess to get started, does anybody want to share one of their scandals?
The first one I wanted to bring up was, and this is less of a scandal, a controversy, I guess, is when BioWare caved and changed the ending of Mass Effect 3.
Hilarious.
I would call that a scandal.
I don't know if it's a scandal.
Well, I think a lot of people, when they hear scandal, that they think the connotation is like something like lascivious. Is that
Like
the word I'm
Monica
looking for?
Lewinsky?
Yeah, some
Yeah,
like
that's-
some sort of
that's the
like
word,
they're
yeah.
trying to think of something like dirty, and it doesn't have to be. It's got to be something that is questionable morally or legally wrong.
Sure.
Something that caused people to be
Yes.
upset. Because some of mine,
To
I
be
wasn't sure.
scandalized.
The
Yeah.
realm of controversy is acceptable.
That was a scandal that people were sending cupcakes, like 1,000 cupcakes, 500 with blue and 500 with red, that all tasted the same to BioWare to prove a point.
I lived through this. I think most of us have, if you were a Mass Effect fan.
So, Dylan, what are you talking about?
So Mass Effect 3 came out in 2012, and it was the ending of a trilogy. And this was supposed to wrap up a cumulative story that had been going on since 2007.
Oh,
And-
BioWare.
And as you play through the game, if you had any if you have any forethought as a human being, it's still a very good video game. It just, you knew
Absolutely.
it wasn't going to wrap up the way you wanted it to. A lot of characters did have emotional arcs that finished.
That felt complete.
Yes, I certainly believe that. And I said, where is this actually ending up? Well, it turns out it's this giant battle on Earth. And at the end of it, your Messiah-like Commander Shepard, he ascends to this room, and he gets to make a choice for all human and machine kind.
Are you going to be a robot? Are you going to be a part robot? Or are you going to kill the robots?
And you get to choose.
I'm a little kid.
You get to choose your option, but they take the form of beams of light in a chamber.
Yeah.
And so one is red. That destroys the machines and the Reapers, leaving your fate as a humankind to evolve past a point that might actually cause entropy and the death of the universe. Then there's fusing with the robots. Can we all just get along? And then and then there's the blue option, which is literally control. You control the robots with your mind.
And
remember
the
that.
problem is, I think it was poorly telegraphed. To me, I didn't understand like the different lights or like what was happening.
I understood it as
The ending also, it just played pretty much the same ending almost at the end of it.
with different color explosion.
Yep.
Was it? Okay, yeah, I never went back to do any of the other endings.
And they kind of wrote
this is
themselves
my
into a
ending.
corner then, because if they wanted to make another Mass Effect game, that's why with Andromeda they had to go to a different like galaxy.
Right. Yeah.
This is the other fellowship over here that we sent off to another galaxy.
Because yeah,
Well, and one that the Reapers have nothing to do with, which kind of throws the lore on its head when you really break it down. Because it's like, if this is happening in another galaxy, why wouldn't the Reapers travel to
Yeah.
another galaxy? Whatever.
So what was so scandalous about this, Dylan?
Well, people were sending death threats, like Brad said, the cupcake thing. Everyone was outraged, and you know how
Gamers?
entitled
Outraged?
Yeah. Well, you know how entitled they can be
Oh,
to shit.
whiny little fucking-
exactly.
yeah.
And so they're like, we need it to be changed. So they were starting to make like petitions and shit, as if they didn't have fucking jobs. or anything.
Change.org.
And and it boggled my mind, because I'm like, I was disappointed by the ending. I didn't see it as some like great accumulation. I loved what the characters went through and yada yada. If you get a certain score on your like galaxy army, you see an ending where it shows Shepard surviving technically. But you have to choose the red option. You have to destroy the Reapers in order to get that ending.
it was a wet fart after people had invested a lot of time into a series, and it was so bad they had to change the ending or extend the ending.
Yeah, they didn't have to, and
that game could have
that's
used
the
another
dicey
year
part.
in the oven. I'm just going to be
They
honest.
were not allowed that time,
I know,
though.
because it's EA.
But
That's
no, I'm
the-
saying they
maybe
didn't
the
have
biggest
to
issue.
change the ending.
So they eventually got
They caved.
They caved, but not in the way you would think. Essentially, what they did was they added a little DLC, and they said, this is free.
Need a little TLC.
And it just basically kind of changed the ending a little, but not really at all. And it gave you one more option, which is just to walk away from the room and let
press the
humanity
power
get
button.
destroyed.
It's a very
Stop
Russ Cole,
playing.
True
And
then
Detective type ending.
It
Right,
ends
yeah.
with a hollow of Liara popping up. It's the future of another completely different like society and
A
race.
new cycle.
And she's just like, we couldn't decide in our time, but we're hoping the information that we give you will help you in what you're doing. And it's just like,
They should have added a fifth
cool.
option where Shepard just starts doing his dance. And then the world blows up as he's dancing there.
I'm dancing like Shepard right now. I wasn't on the side that it really needed to change. I thought it was just it's one of those endings where it's ambiguous for the sake of being ambiguous, and some people confuse ambiguity for depth a lot of the time, like the end of Inception. Like
The point is, it doesn't matter. He's accepted the truth.
yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just like, well, did it happen? It's like, who cares? There's no like actual thing to think about here. Like, I don't know. I often, like, a lot of people use very basic, especially in video games, they use very basic symbolism because they're trying to reach a wider audience. And you see the child who gets destroyed in the Reaper invasion as in the form of like a cyber ghost.
Dude, and like, there's such a cool indoctrination theory going around. Like, fans
was
created
awesome.
a much better canon and lore that they came out and said that's not what happened. But they're like, then why did you do all these things with like the kid there?
Yep. If you want to read the indoctrination theory,
So good.
There's a great thread of it. I think it started on Reddit.
There's a really good
sure.
hour-long YouTube video that explains all of it.
Please watch it. It makes everything make a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
And it explains the last game pretty damn well.
So I want to take us back to Christmas 1982.
Please do.
Atari released this little game called E.T. They were only given like 5 to 6 weeks to get this game out because it had to come out for Christmas.
From one guy.
And Warshaw.
Howard Scott.
Yep, Howard Scott. He had done Raiders of the Lost Ark. And Spielberg personally requested this guy make E.T.
Yar's Revenge. Yeah.
Yar's Revenge, yep. Give that guy some fucking credit. He made a game. Some call it the worst game of all time. It isn't the worst game of all time. It is a very fucking bad game. Problem is, they sold over 1 million, like 1.5 million copies that holiday season. They're like, this is great. And then mass returns started coming back. Atari wound up losing like $50 million or something in '83. And essentially, E.T. is partially responsible for the video game crash of '83. That
Partially, yes.
in a bigger way. That and like the Pac-Man for Atari was also a real big dud. But that game was a pretty scandalous release, in that there was a lot of upset kids, angry families,
Yes.
and you're gonna have to get out of the hot tub, quit doing drugs for a little bit, and try
on,
and
Nolan.
fix your company there.
Yeah, that was that game definitely was a harbinger of things to come. Just the obtuseness of it. When you look at what he was trying to do with the game, it is kind of impressive for the time
That he got that far. That
he got that far in
that's
that amount of
actually quite
time,
brilliant,
but
yeah.
also had some, concepts of rebuilding, the phone home. But man, fucking falling in those goddamn trenches constantly, the holes. Oh my God, that's all I remember.
And it caused another scandal because Atari buried a large number of their products, and people have said it was like 70 million, or I don't know what it was, like some stupidly large number of Atari cartridges. I forget the number, but it was a myth for a long time. And then
Because they made more than there were Ataris.
they made more copies of the game than there was physical consoles.
That's smart.
But I guess local government
Unless you're Breath of the Wild.
local government were like angry, and they're like, we actually have to dig these up because there's a lot of things that could be bad if they're just sitting there rotting in the planet, all of these cartridges. So they actually went out and had to dig all of them up, and
They made a
found
documentary about it.
Yeah, Chris Kohler, I watched a YouTube video where he was down there, and Ernest Cline from Ready Player One was driving George R. R. Martin's DeLorean down there. I'm like,
Great.
wow.
He would
Cool.
do something like that.
Yeah.
Did you know that the DeLorean is in Ready Player One?
Yeah.
And he mentions it like 8 million times.
Tom, did you live through the 80s? Were you a little nerd?
Oh.
You'll love Ready Player One.
Oh my God. Yeah. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Not a big fan.
I think
Okay.
I'll say
Anyways.
I'll tell you I'll say it once, I'll say it again. I think too much nostalgia is a poison.
Yeah.
But some good things that did come out of this. I think if E.T. and Pac-Man and some other games, hadn't been so bad, and also Atari not having like a seal of quality, it gave way for Nintendo to rise.
It did. Yep.
It's a real wake up call.
Yeah. The whole the Nevada landfill thing with the cartridges was an urban legend for so long until they finally did the documentary.
Yeah.
Definitely check out that documentary.
Well, it's funny, like they kickstarted
Game over, man.
They kickstarted that documentary, and people who paid enough, they actually got one of the cartridges.
Yes.
I know Aaron from Game Grumps actually has one.
Okay, yeah.
So I actually, like, he presented it. I'm like, whoa, that's cool.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty rad. I would love to own one of those.
Because it wasn't just ET cartridges. It was like
it was-
Centipede.
That was only one. That was only 1/10 of
Yeah.
Sure.
cartridges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like hardware. They just buried warehouses of shit.
I'm just picturing like there was some guy and like
Get rid of 'em. We
it's
gotta
like,
get
we
rid
gotta
of
get
'em.
rid of him, and he takes them all home, and then one of his kids ends up drowning in a pile of the cartridges. And he's like, I'm taking it to the desert.
You sold all the units. Don't open the garage door, honey.
I'm surprised they didn't like use them in the ball pits of Chuck E. Cheese. Just replace the balls with fucking ET cartridges. People getting stabbed by fucking cartridges. That's a good one, man.
Scandalous.
Yeah. Strap in for this one, guys. I have Silicon Knights versus Epic Software, aka the time a judge ruled that all copies of a game be destroyed. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Silicon Knights.
Eternal Darkness.
Eternal Darkness.
Sanity's Requiem.
Yeah, you got it.
Potential Eternal Dark sequel that never came out, and I'm still angry
Shadows
about.
of the Eternal. Blood Omen Legacy of Kain.
Yes.
Metal Gear Solid The Twin Snakes on GameCube. Great
Very
game.
good. Not as good as the PS1 one, but yeah.
Yes. So Silicon Knights, right? This developer, they announced a game called Two Human. It was to be a futuristic action RPG
With Norse elements.
incorporating Norse mythology, and also be the first entry in a planned trilogy. It also started as a PlayStation exclusive. Like, we're talking PS1 exclusive back in 1999. Hit some development snags, and then it became a GameCube exclusive. Hit some more development snags, and all of a sudden, it's now an Xbox 360 exclusive with an intended release date of 2006, but the game actually released in 2008.
Played the demo of this in my college dorm.
Did you?
Yes.
I never played it.
It's. I remember it being.
Was it a
bad.
game?
It was a game. It was a third-person game.
Okay.
But we were just sitting there laughing.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means to you.
So now it means everything. I know the demo was actually played by a lot people. So.
That's what we played.
For better
we
or
weren't
worse.
gonna fucking pay for that shit.
So when developing this game for Xbox, Silicon Knights ended up using the Unreal Engine 3 to power the game. But due to problems that we will soon get into, they kind of abandoned using that engine, but they still ended up using a modified version of the UE3 engine. Silicon Knights and Epic, they ended their relationship mid-development. So they were using Unreal Engine 3 to build Two Human. They cut off ties. They're like, fuck you, Epic, we're not going to use this anymore. And they ended up releasing the game later. And it's worthy to note that the Unreal Engine continues to be one of the most popular game engines used today, pretty much. So here's where it gets kind of juicy. I don't know, you guys know this story?
Barely, actually. So this is actually pretty interesting.
Okay, so July 2007, 1 year before the game comes out, Silicon Knights sues Epic, claiming that Epic did not support the Unreal Engine as was promised in their licensing agreement. The lawsuit stated that Epic failed to, quote, provide a working game engine, and it caused Silicon Knights to experience considerable losses. They also alleged that Epic was sabotaging the Unreal Engine licensees by not making a working version of the engine available within 6 months of Xbox 360 dev kits being available to developers, and also not providing sufficient documentation when the full version of the engine became available. So essentially, Silicon Knights started developing 2 Human while Unreal Engine was still being built. It wasn't quite fully baked.
I have a feeling this lawsuit's not going to go well for Silicon Knights.
We'll see, Brad. We'll see.
I mean, they're the most popular developers around.
I mean, obviously. They also alleged that Epic was funneling all the licensing money it was making into developing its own game titles like Gears of War, instead of using those funds to actually support the development of the engine. Well, this caused Epic to basically give Silicon Knights the big old finger, the big old middle finger of Thor. And
The middle finger of Thor.
the middle finger of Thor.
It's a power rarely used.
Mjolnir. And they filed a countersuit against
You know what? Fuck you.
against Silicon Knights in 2007, with Epic alleging
I'm going
that
to sue you back.
Yeah. Everything you can sue, I can sue better. Epic alleged that
always
Silicon
sounds
Knights knew that Unreal Engine 3 was still in development at
And
the
they
time.
had receipts.
They had the receipts, yes. And some of the features and components would continue to be developed as Epic was completing Gears of War. That's when they were still fleshing out some of the components for Unreal 3.
That makes sense because that game is truly the Unreal 3 engine video game. Yeah.
Yep. Then they claimed that Silicon Knights ended up copying thousands of lines of code, including the Epic's actual developer comments within the code from UE3, and use this tech in Silicon Knights' own engine, and knowingly removed like all instances of Epic's copyrights within the code. So basically, Silicon Knights took their code, put it in their engine.
And just like erase the name at the top of the page.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
But they also left in all the
Brad's
development
homework.
Yes, but they also left in all the developer code. I mean, comments, which I thought was kind of
Smooth move.
which I thought was kind of funny, and will come back to haunt them. So even though Silicon Knights was claiming it was using its own engine, it was still basically running Unreal 3 as the foundation. And since Silicon Knights and Epic had, I guess, quote unquote, broken up during development, they did not pay Epic any money for using any of that code. So the case was eventually heard and deliberated in May of 2012. Yeah, it did not go good for Silicon Knights. The court ruled in Epic's favor, and the court awarded Epic $4.45 million on grounds of copyright infringement, misappropriation of trade secrets, and breach of contract. But here's the other thing. In addition to the monetary damages, Silicon Knights was ordered to destroy all of their game code that was derived from copying and pasting all this code.
She is.
So using Unreal 3 as the base.
If you're the one who's fucking around, don't bring the courts into it. You know.
Right. You brought this upon yourself,
At some point, your lawyers had to advise you. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. So this is when all unsold copies of 2 Human and also a game called X-Men Destiny had to be recalled and destroyed.
X-Men Destiny.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the kicker here is it
No
just...
loss.
Well, it didn't just affect the games that were already released. Silicon Knights had 3 other games in development at the time that were all using this code, and they had to basically be destroyed and shut down. And Silicon Knights officially filed for bankruptcy in 2014 as a result.
Took them that long right after? Okay.
I mean, the game was, I guess, on the market for 4 years, 2 Humans. So, it probably sold as much as it was going to sell. But this is the first time and only time that a game was ordered to be destroyed. But in a twist of fate, the game resurfaced last year on Xbox Live.
Thank God.
Because the game was actually published by Microsoft originally. So
interesting.
They put it up for download for free for like 1 week. With Epic's blessing, probably some monetary.
At that point, Epic's like, yeah, fuck those guys, right?
Right, yeah, we got our money. Plus, I think the whole video game preservation thing has been coming to the forefront in recent years. But
Frank Cifaldi.
Right, thanks to our boy Frank, right? So I think maybe that had something to do with it. Like maybe it wasn't cool to destroy all those copies. Let's just give it to people for so it's out there.
Well, when you've already won the battle, you don't have to brag about it. Just like
It's how many people possibly would be like, too human. You remember when we played that game? Let's go back to that.
Too human, more human than human. That was a scandal. That's a
really good one. I mean, that's a really in-depth one too. You really did your research on that one.
Yeah, it was fun.
You just read an entire Kotaku article.
Yeah, it's basically Wikipedia. Yeah, no.
I mean, that's all.
It was always interesting.
That's all we all do.
Yeah, it was something I was aware of, but it was good to kind of do the research and see okay, this is exactly why, because I knew there was some code. The Dennis Dyack was the president of Silicon Knights, and he is a very kind of controversial, outspoken figure in the games industry. And you were talking about Eternal Darkness 2, or that Shadows of Eternals. There was a Kickstarter that failed twice. Even when he kickstarted those games, Epic got involved, investigated them to make sure none of the assets used in the trailers were used any code, from Unreal 3 or from the past. So,
well, okay, so if the first Onimusha game can have a little remastering, they put it on the Switch, why can't you just give me Eternal Darkness in a way that doesn't make me want to poke out my eyes?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That game is so brilliant. I mean, it's not fabulous or anything, but if they could switch up the insanity things that happen in it, because it's really just built for CRT televisions.
It's true.
Because I remember first playing this game, and there would be a fly that buzzes across the screen, and I actually went boom, and I'm like, oh, I'm the
That's part of the
biggest
game,
idiot
man.
on the face of the planet. Nintendo actually has a patent to virtual insanity still.
Jamiroquai?
No, Jamiroquai has that patent.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Tom's right.
But not for video games.
Also sliding around rooms.
And wearing big hats.
Very big hats.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
Big
fine.
conveyor belts.
He's actually just a small man. Those are regular size hats.
No, yeah, I would love a sequel, or I'd love a remaster of that. I mean, Onimusha,
Absolutely.
Onimusha is not a great game, so give me Eternal Darkness.
I think I would put Eternal Darkness in the fabulous category, or at least it was at the time.
I don't know, when they would trick you into thinking your volume was turning down.
Oh, yeah.
Or that your
save
GameCube
games.
reset without you understanding it. It'll go and I'd be like, what the fuck? I'd be in my room, my mom would be like, what's wrong? And I'd be like, oh, actually nothing, I guess.
God damn it.
Still scared the piss out.
Next, Dylan.
Mine are the 93 and 94 congressional hearings
Oh,
on
yes.
violence in video games.
Oh my gosh.
Get over here.
And this is my
Yes, Senator.
This is my true okay boomer.
I'm Joseph Lieberman. Go ahead.
And what is his name? Herb.
Herb
And
Kohl.
I'm Hillary Clinton.
And I'm Wisconsin Senator Herb Kohl.
And
I'm David Gruber. I don't know where we're going.
It's funny.
One call. That's all. Nobody's going to get that except for Milwaukee people.
Just look him up.
Don't do it.
Actually, do it. It's funny.
Yeah.
He tipped me well when I worked at the Bradley Center.
That's right. He hired our band to play Bastille Days.
But the
He's a lovely
ESRB.
The ESRB was basically created out of this. It's a lot of bringing these people into account, like the companies. However, I think the way they did it was so silly and so full of ancient dum-dums that it completely went right past the point. It was basically like religious zealots saying well, we can't have our children having this, even though the Bible's full of whatever.
Heads on platters.
Yeah, and
Right.
people turning to salt if they look at giant fires. To me, this whole entire thing is this scandal is my okay boomer. It is literally it made me realize a lot about myself and how I felt about things that are coming out now, even though I'm 30 years old.
They'll try everything to fix a problem except actually addressing what's really wrong.
Exactly. Well, it's just
Video games are the reason. It's just do some fucking parenting, maybe.
yes,
Yeah.
it's
They'll forever be. Yeah.
well, it's just
the connotation.
They had such a stranglehold on comics and a stranglehold on television and movies that they didn't think they needed it for video games. And I still don't necessarily
Daniel
think that's
Pacina's
true.
like, all right, hold my beer.
Right? Yeah.
I don't think that's necessary. Like if I had a kid and they got a video game, I'd be like, well, what's the fucking video game? Like there is a point of personal accountability to all this. However, like a couple of the ones that they were bringing up at the time were Mortal Kombat,
Yep.
Pacina,
Night Trap?
and Night Trap.
Yep.
Which is the most innocuous, silly game if you've ever played it. In fact, the Senate hearings actually caused sales to spike of Night Trap before it was ultimately just pulled from shelves.
Oh, sure.
Almost tripling their sales. And so the creator's like, I don't care.
Fuck yeah.
You can pull it now.
You wonder why?
I've already made my money.
One of the reasons Genesis like took off.
Now, if you don't know what Night Trap is, it's an FMV game where it's kind of a pseudo Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
Where there is an invasion in a house and it's a bunch of girls who are having a sleepover, essentially.
Dana
and
Plato.
your job is to use the
R.I.P.
traps in the house
To protect the girls.
To protect the girls.
Yeah.
Or not,
and you're
depending on how you play the game. I always go for the Renegade.
And you're
option.
switching cameras basically.
I don't care.
All video. Yeah.
Damn, Shepard, you're hard. Shepard. And and especially like Joseph Lieberman, and I watched a bit of the C-SPAN.
This is
quite
Joseph
a bit.
Lieberman. Go ahead.
I don't like that scorpion guy. He's
Is it
scary.
true? This half-naked woman
He's using Asian tools. I don't like that.
in a 90.
He ripped his spine out.
Well, the
There's
funniest
some
thing
great
is
quotes that come out of this, though.
I watched some of the old C-SPAN on this.
Yeah.
And this is the most research I've done for something like this in a while because I found it so intriguing. And a lot of it is like, and then they're like wearing negligees and they're being indecent. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I watched gameplay of this. Yeah. There's nothing there. Like, it's literally a man who is just making a judgment based on something he's never done before or even understands.
It's out of context.
I was watching
And-
some Fox News stuff about the Mass Effect sex scene, and it's amazing how none of them played the game. Literally no one there. And Jeff Keighley is the only person there that he's like, you guys, that's not what is happening at all.
Right.
Yep.
It's so weird to me, and it really honestly watching these C-SPANs, I'm like, I got to take it easier on my viewpoints on a lot of these like things that kids like the Fortnite, the TikToks.
I find myself thinking in that mindset too. And I'm like, I
just gotta
can't
be
be
nicer.
quick
I've gotta be
judge.
better.
If kids like Fortnite, that's fine. TikTok is bad because it's like selling children's data.
Yes, I agree with that.
TikTok's bad, but no, like
I mean,
just because
Facebook's
they don't
just as
understand
love
Fortnite
casual.
doesn't mean I'm like
Right.
It's cool.
No,
Yeah.
it's fine, and it also I think it's a good lesson on not being an old fogey about things.
If we
It's
did a
just
Fortnite-
because it's new and you don't understand it doesn't immediately mean that it's bad.
If we did a Fortnite
I
episode,
honestly-
it would be the most downloaded episode we did.
Honestly,
probably.
Probably. Yeah.
maybe we should. What I'm
I'm
saying,
Han Fortnite. I'm Han Fortnite.
Yeah.
one of the things. Well, I honestly I kind of want to cut this a little bit short because I would like to actually do maybe a full topic on this.
Yeah, it'd be
Because
great.
I think it's super entertaining. I think
It
there's
is.
a lot going on drama wise, and I think it completely changed the landscape.
I will
of things.
say,
it could even be a raw.
I've always
dog.
said you should check out that Console Wars book by Blake Harris.
Yeah.
Because it plays out this scene between Sega and Nintendo.
they get in a fight.
They get in a fight, and Nintendo uses this as a way to admonish Sega
'Cause they
for
have more
being
violent
so
games,
violent,
yes.
and in how Nintendo is a squeaky clean choir boy who edits their games. We would never put a game like Night Trap on our systems. They tried to
Meanwhile,
use it
it's
as a
on
marketing
Switch
stunt,
right now.
which worked
Sonic snorting cocaine in the bathroom.
which worked against Nintendo
fast.
and made people want to go fucking get Sega.
Well,
the
and
Genesis
it's
for Mortal Kombat.
yeah.
If it hadn't been
Sega
for
will
these,
always do what Nintendo don't.
if it hadn't been for these hearings, Mortal Kombat wouldn't have been all over the fucking news.
Nope.
And people were going crazy for this game because they heard it was. If they didn't say this is the most violent thing, people would have been like, "Holy shit, we got to play it! It's the most violent
Yep.
thing."
Now, is Joe Lieberman the one who was against?
I'm Joel Lieberman.
I'm Joel Lieberman.
Is he also the one that reappeared in the 2000s? Is he the same guy?
He's still fighting against video
He
games.
ran
somewhere.
with John Kerry as his vice president.
Oh, Jesus Christ! You're right. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Oh man!
But yeah,
Just hate everyone.
the formation of the ESRB came out of this, and after this hearing,
Which
this
I
is when the
think
video game industry came together and said, like, we will handle all internal disputes within us. We will not, as much as we can. We do not want government intervention anymore.
They've mostly done good until
And they do.
Yep.
microtransactions.
Yep.
Right, that was about
Which
as
is
close
why
as they got
and
really
which
close.
is why it's a problem now.
That I think we've covered that on a Raw Dogs, and that whole thing, like with
an angry
microtransactions. That's a whole scandal. We talked about a million scandals in that episode,
it's
so
all
that's why none of those are on here.
Microtransactions are their own scandal. If you want an extra one, just listen to that.
Listen to that episode, yeah.
Absolutely, but yeah, that's a good one, Dylan.
I would love to do another episode on this, and I want to pull quotes and stuff like that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, we got to
I'm
do
down
it.
for that one.
So there was this fella named Sean Murray and Hello Games, and they created this really great game called Joe Danger. And
Love Joe Danger.
Joe Danger. And they made Joe Danger 2. And they're a little game company. They make some good games, and they decided they wanted to make this procedurally generated video game where you can go to all these, like Aldi's, something like Aldi's. You can go to like 83 billion or something different possible planets. The species are all procedurally generated. It's all like there's.
Can I do this in a game?
Well, the problem,
Yes, you
the
can.
problem is this guy, Sean Murray, great dude. He's a great dude, but he's a designer and he's not a spokesperson. And he's out there at E3 and on the Colbert Report and on news shows, and everyone's
God, he was on Colbert. Oh
well,
my
and
God.
everyone's asking him questions like, can you do co-op? Can you do this? And he kind of just keeps saying yes. Part of it was, I mean, he was out of his element. I think maybe he thought they would be able to get some of these things in the game, but
Pie in the sky.
it was a very anticipated release with tons of people pre-ordering the $60 experience, and it got delayed, and it was looking a little grim. And the game got leaked even before then. Someone spent like $1,200 on eBay because the game got leaked and then they bought it.
Right.
And then he beat the game and reviewed it. And even that guy's like, it's fine. It's not a great game. It's like there's some glitches. Then early reviews were coming out and they were getting slapped with like cease and desists. They didn't want anyone talking about this game, and then it came out and it was not complete, and it was glitchy and buggy, and it didn't have 95% of what was promised.
Yeah.
And even then, I mean, it wasn't promised. It was him casually saying things 2 or 3 years earlier on an interview.
Yes. Yeah.
Which that's not a promise, but that is, you got to understand the world you're in. I think Sean Murray's probably learned.
You can't fuck with gamers.
And yeah, he's probably learned like, don't say things. Well, he did learn that because, I mean, this was a scandal. People were pissed. Very poor reviews. And credit to Hello Games, they pretty much turned off their Twitter. They had all this they had all this money that they could have done with whatever they want. And
Private Island.
They decided to turn off their Twitter and just make the game better. And they released like 6 or 7 free expansions and quality of life
Updates,
improvements. And they weren't tweeting about it. They weren't doing anything. And it's since
only way
then
to gain
become
PR back.
a game that people really love and people are all about.
I actually just recently got it on a Steam sale for about $25.
Have you guys played it? You played
I
it?
played it the first time. So I've been hesitant even after like these updates where everyone's like, no, it's cool now. And I'm like, And now I feel like I'm at a point where I'm just like, I've heard enough about this and how it's changed to actually make a decision about this. And if it was over 50% off on Steam, so I was just like, no, I'm just gonna buy it and I'm gonna play it. I haven't touched it yet, but I actually do plan to in the relative
Is
future.
it on Game Pass? I think it's on Game Pass.
Gosh, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Brad, I think you're right.
I haven't played it.
I'm Joe Lieberman. This game is very bad. It has aliens in it, and that scares me as a god man. So I'm Christian man.
Does it have blue titties?
Well,
I've changed my mind on Mass Effect. I fucked this alien. Her boobs were huge.
That was Ray
I'm
Romano.
planning on
That was
living-
Ray
I'm planning
Romano.
Everybody loves me.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm planning on leaving my wife.
so
for
it-
I
blue
remember
aliens.
this scandal being upsetting so many people.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah.
yeah.
That was big.
It was the funnest thing to hate for about half a year.
Yes, but
It was the butt of every fucking joke in the
but then
video
it
game
almost
industry.
became like the biggest turnaround story in gaming. Well,
Well,
one of the biggest.
Now, did you guys play this when it first came out?
No.
No, I haven't played it.
Okay.
and I probably never will.
Here's one thing I can say in its favor, even when I first started playing it. The game was pretty addictive. If you have any like knack for like spaceships and
Knack
collecting
for.
elements.
Yeah.
Is it a thing where if we say knack 3 times, Beetlejuice shows up or something?
No, if you say
Don't
knack
say it
3 times,
again.
knack shows up.
But even then,
Mark
when
Cerny.
they were, I don't know if it was at E3, but they were demoing the game, and he said, "Just so you guys know, this is procedurally generated. We don't know what's going to happen for this demo." Lies,
Totally was, yeah.
total lies, and he's like, "We wouldn't want to just have like a monster show up at the end of the trailer. Like that would be too obvious." And that's exactly what they did.
Yep.
And I don't know, they made every wrong move PR wise ahead of time, and then they made every possible right move after the debacle. But
Yeah.
super scandalous.
By default, right now when I booted up the game and I played around with it for a millisecond, it's in default third person now. It's no longer
Really?
default
Okay.
first person.
Interesting.
I had no clue.
I don't know. Yeah, it's one of those games that they talked way too much.
Yep.
Overpromised, overextended, and they have proven that if they did have an extra 2 or 3 years, they really would have been able to get what people wanted. But
And I think became good examples for other developers.
They're still alive, though.
Shit, okay, be careful what you say. Careful
Yeah.
what we say, guys. Let's have our PR department go out and do the.
They've got a smaller game coming out that looks
junkets.
pretty promising. It's an indie game. It's called like Little Campfires or something like that. I think that looks pretty good.
yeah, because they created Hello Labs too, which is like Hello Games has like another smaller subset now, which is working on other new IPs and stuff.
Nice.
And I think Sean Murray is a great man. Bless his heart. He probably won't be doing any PR for a while.
Probably not.
God bless him.
God bless you, dude. Badass move. Keeping your head down and fixing your game.
That fucker went radio silent on Twitter for like a good 2 years.
It was over 100 days that over 100 days that they weren't responding to anything, and then they just released one little bug fix thing, and people were like, it still sucks, but whatever. And then they kept doing more and more, and eventually they're
Yeah.
like, okay,
Right.
It's
Now you got
fixing- it's fixing a
multiplayer,
mistake.
and space combat.
I'll meet you for one coffee. Where like, and then eventually it's like, all right, you can come to bed, Sean. We like it again.
All right, for our final scandal of the evening. This one's a little bit. It's not directly in the games industry. This is more the games journalism industry. 2007, GameSpot editor Jeff Gersman. You're familiar with Jeff?
I actually know this one pretty well. This is when I was first getting on the internet.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
So, he was an editor. He's a review editor at GameSpot, and he was inconspicuously fired after he reviewed the video game Kane & Lynch Dead Men back in 2007. And after he gave it a 6 out of 10 on the site.
So what, he was just expressing his opinion and doing journalism?
Review.
Just an honest review. And when he was let go, the internet was flabbergasted and rife with speculation. But the truth actually wasn't confirmed until a few years later. And it turns out that game publisher Eidos, the publisher of Kane & Lynch Dead Men, wasn't happy with Jeff's critical review. And they threatened to pull out all their advertising money from GameSpot as a result.
What a coinky dink.
And also coincidentally, Eidos was heavily marketing Kane & Lynch Dead Men on the site when the review
I do recall.
went live.
It's really hard. To be fair, it's still really hard to advertise your game when you have two of the ugliest main protagonists of a fucking video game, and it just shows them in every single fucking ad, because that's all I remember. Like,
Yeah.
I remember there's supposed to be like some unique co-op gameplay.
Yeah, there
where
was.
you could pull one guy that couldn't like walk himself, but he could still be shooting. And you're right, 2 ugly old dudes.
Yeah. Josh said he liked the first one, I guess. I don't know.
I played a bit of the first one. It's fucking fine. It's a third-person game, a third-person shooter. I think Max Payne did that genre so much justice that it's really hard to actually, and it was definitely in the Max Payne style. It was not like a cover. It was cover-based, but like, it just wasn't what it should have been.
I wish it was Dean Cain and Jane Lynch.
Well, fuck that guy. You should always be doing whatever your advertisers are paying you to do.
Absolutely.
Just look at IGN.
If
Sorry, I'd
anyone
love to work
anyone
for
wants to
IGN,
pay
I
us
don't know.
to change our opinions on anything,
I'd be
hair the
happy.
dogcast at gmail.com.
My
Yeah.
Venmo is blankety blank blank.
Find us on Patreon. You pay us enough, we'll say, hey,
We'll do anything,
We
yeah.
love Kane and
No,
Lynch. We'll do a
no.
Kane and Lynch two-parter.
You don't need them. You just need to give to my Venmo.
Yeah, GameSpot did try to cover
We're the
up.
new Kane and Lynch podcast.
Oh my
Yes.
god.
And when Lynch did this thing, how did you feel?
Well,
Right.
if you go back in the lore, Lynch's great-grandpa,
Osias Lynch.
Osias Lynch, yeah.
How did Lynch's actions fit into today's?
This is really one of the reasons it is
climate?
probably the best piece of art in modern times.
So, anyways, yeah, GameSpot did try to cover up Gersman's firing at the
I'm just
time
suddenly wearing a
as not having
shirt.
to do anything related to his Kane and Lynch review, but instead trying to sell the whole angle of Jeff was fired as part of an internal review process.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we reviewed his
He
review.
was a good reviewer.
And also conspicuously, they took down his video review from the site at the time due to concerns of quality, quote unquote, and inferior audio.
Inferior audio.
Yeah, it's
it
kind of
was
ridiculous.
2007.
Anyways, long story short, the incident just ended up establishing Gersman's credibility even more within the games journalism spheres.
He's still a pretty respectable
and
journalist for that.
He went on to found Giant Bomb,
Yeah.
the much respected video game website, one of my faves, with co-founder and ex-GameSpot editor Ryan Davis. And after he got fired, a whole slew of editors walked in solidarity from GameSpot and
Right
joined.
on. That's how it should be.
And that's pretty much all the guys on Giant Bomb were
beautiful.
all the ex-GameSpot editors. So in a kind of like a true circle of life ironic moment, Giant Bomb experienced a bunch of success and was eventually acquired by CBS, which is also the parent company of GameSpot.
But no one's going to give them shit now.
Right now, all the people involved with his firing are no longer with the company, and actually both Giant Bomb and GameSpot share the same offices in San Francisco.
Wow,
and
that's
they're
really
kind
the
of
snake
constantly
eating
on
its own tail. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all friends now.
Well,
But-
and I honestly, because so for a long time, whenever you saw like the comments in a review section of anything, it was like these people were paid off, like,
Sure.
or like if it was too low, people would be like, well, they were paid to say this, and if it was too high, they always say they were paid to say this. But some of the time, it's not that conspiratorial.
No.
Sometimes it's just fucking true.
I mean, video games are so nascent. I mean, it's just that shit happens. You know, you have active
bound to be.
advertising
IGN is
that you
probably
rely
the
on,
highest offender in my
and then
opinion.
you're also reviewing the products that.
Well, yeah. Why wouldn't you advertise video games on a video game website? It's a basic marketing thing.
Right.
Like,
It's funny when you go back to like old Game Pros or EGM. A game gets bad reviews, but there's an advertisement on the other page.
Oh
but
yeah,
there's something
Yeah.
respectable about that too, because I think that like if you follow a certain website or magazine, not so much anymore, but if you follow them, you kind of understand what the reviewers look for, and if you're a diligent reader and you're understanding who's actually saying what,
Yep.
you can kind of figure out if they didn't like it, maybe you would like it, and that is the point of critique. Like that's the entire point. It's not a be all end all. I mean, for some people it is. Like at Ubisoft, it's how they make their bonuses and crap like that. But
yeah.
at the same
Kinda sucks.
time, you can't like judge someone for having an opinion on that.
I don't know. Journalism is fucking dead.
Yeah, it's dead.
Well, the only news I get that I can trust a little bit is on Reddit, it seems like. And even that, it's like, take that with a real big
You guys
grain of salt.
obviously don't listen to Sean Hannity.
Oh, man. Fox News talking about the sex box with Mass Effect.
Yeah,
They're like, this game treats women like objects. They're not treated in any way other than for their bodies. And then you can have sex where you force them to have sex with you and you get to use different maneuvers on them. Jeff Keighley's just shaking his head. He's like, no. He's like, did you play the game? She's like, no, I wouldn't play the game. It's like, thank you.
It's a very romantic scene, and honestly, you don't.
It's
see
when
any
you've
TDs.
developed and learned these characters.
Yeah.
It's a better relationship than you're going to get on
It's better
30
than
Day
most of the people
Fiance.
it's better than most of the people who've ever played it actually
And
have.
it's so much fun watching all of the Fox News people sit around talking about it. One of them's like, whatever happened to Pac-Man? I'm like, what year are you living in?
What did happen to him? He's
I used to
living
listen,
in a fucking
I used to listen
arcade
to this
machine.
podcast called The Besties, and it's got like the McElroy brothers on it and stuff like that. And Justin would start out every podcast, and he'd say, you know, video games have come a long way since Pac-Man. Mario. It was making fun of the entire idea. It's true. It's absolutely true. It's literally just like, but it even extends back to like the violence in video games thing. It's just like, if you don't understand it, you immediately think it's an enemy of you.
Right.
And I think that's the problem with the world in general.
The world is a very complicated place.
It operates on clicks. Whatever gets you clicks, if you can say something offensive that'll get people to pay attention.
Well, that's the reason you guys hired me for the podcast.
Well, yeah.
We were getting too many. we
were on the fence.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully you all enjoyed some of these scandals. We will be back another day with more scandals. Don't you worry. But if there are any that you would like us to bring up, or if you have any comments on the ones we did talk about, please let us know. We would love to hear you. You can just email us at hairofthedogcast@gmail.com.
That is probably your best way of getting in touch with every single one of us. Because I actually, if you send a question in an email, I promise you, even I will read it.
Oh, shit.
Reach out to us on Facebook, though, too. We do post a lot of questions and stuff that influence our episodes. Our Instagram is usually quite active, too.
Yeah.
If
I should
you
post that stuff on there, too.
Yeah.
I always forget about that.
I'm the Instagram whore here, baby. Not that there's nothing wrong
King
with
Insta.
Yeah. King Insta, man. We, definitely check out our Patreon as well.
Yeah.
There's some exclusive Raw Dogs episodes, YouTube content. You can get higher quality of the episodes early. Lots of cool things on there. Support us any way you can. It doesn't cost much for $3, $5, which for a month, that's like one cup of coffee if you go somewhere.
Hell, $1.
You just consider it buying us a beer.
Just be that guy.
Yeah, we'd appreciate it. And if you go to the $10 tier, you can dictate an episode topic, at least for a while. We're getting more Patreon subscribers, so if we get too many, we'll have to raise the price. But we do want to talk
We'll
about
take
what you
your
want to talk about.
suggestions first.
We'll do a 10-part series on Kane and Lynch, and it will suck.
If you really
But if you want
do
it, we'll do it.
If you donate, if you give us $200 a month,
The views expressed on the
I will-
podcast are necessarily...
I will literally myself produce a Kane and Lynch podcast.
Twitter. We're on Twitter at the Hot Dogcast.
Yeah.
And I can never say that right. Hot Dogcast.
Dogcast.
Dogcast. Yeah. All right. Well, gentlemen, this has been a pleasure.
As always.
I look forward to the next Raw Dogs so much.
Yep, we're talking about Mario RPGs. That'll be out a week from today.
Oh my God.
We're going to cover Mario RPG,
Yes.
the Paper Mario series, the Mario and Luigi series, and we're just going to barely touch base on Mario and Rabbids.
I wish I could be there for that one. I haven't
I
played
think
a lot
we
of
should
them.
talk more about Mario and Rabbids. I really love that game.
Yeah.
We have guests for this one, so
Sweet.
Yep. Since you won't be there, we're
Sad.
making Jamie and Dom, who are wonderful friends of the podcast, and they have a lot of opinions, such as how to pronounce Mario if you're Canadian, which they say Mario up there.
that's absolutely dog shit. I'm sorry.
It is horrible.
Because if you're
from
actually
Jersey.
Italian, they don't say Mario. They go Mario. They say Mario. It's Mario. Even the Japanese say it right.
It's a Canadian Jersey thing, man.
I don't
know.
care.
All right.
I'm gonna have a lot to say. It's not Italian.
And on that note, we've loved all of you for listening to us. We'll be back next time.
This entire duration, you have been loved. We just want you to know that. Every time you listen to the Dogcast.
Just know I'm judging you from afar.
All right, gentlemen.
Bye.
We love you. R.I.P.
Keep it-
Josh. Maybe you'll be back on the next one.
What do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of this like end thing? Like, what if I said like, keep it sleazy?
Is that how
You would watch the
your delivery?
Workaholics or something?
Sure, I don't know.
All right.
I think it
Let's
sounds
do a couple
all right.
takes.
Keep it sleazy. Keep it sleazy.
Scandal Cunningham.
Keep it sleazy. Okay.
Sleazy motherfucking E.
As long as you keep in every one of those,
It'll be after the outro.
Keep it sleazy.
it's hidden an hour after. If you stay around an extra hour after,
The biggest, longest secret track. Why is this podcast 8 hours long?
Do you want to hear Elmo say it?
Keep it sleazy.
Perfect. All right. All right. That's it.